Hello, everybody. James here, and my next guest, the Walking Riot, Missy Hyatt, and also the Walking Historical Fact Machine.
Thank you.
Well. We've been just so everyone, we've been talking about history for the past 20 minutes beforehand, just to. And you were embarrassing me by you knowing far more than I did about my own country.
About your own country, yeah. The War of the Roses, and the Tudors. I love the Tudor history.
Do you ever get into the Stuarts' history? Because like the Stuarts are like the latter half are pretty boring, but Charles the whole Charles the First, Charles the Second thing,
right.
James the First thing. That's all the interesting gunpowder plots and beheadings and stuff.
Oh, I know, and it was crazy. And what about Mary Queen of Scots and her own cousin having her? But I mean, that whole. I really think that the Stuarts should have been on the throne because after Elizabeth died. They should have merged it and put a Stuart on the throne. But then they would have gone back Catholic though.
Yeah, that's part of the interest where the Catholic so Henry VIII turned it into Church of England just so he could get a divorce.
Just to get a divorce. I mean, can you believe that? I want to start my own religion. And he did. He started his own religion. Now we have the Anglican Church, which is in Tallahassee, my hometown, small town. And it's like, oh my gosh, he started his own religion. How cool is that? I want to start my own religion. The House of Myssy.
You might as well.
Or the House of Hyatt religion.
And thing is, then you can get tax breaks. So I mean,
yeah, exactly. I don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah. Or if you can do even better, get a cult going. And then have them give you all their money.
All their money. Yeah. That sounds even better. But my religion would be love everybody. Whatever you believe in is fine. I don't care what you believe in. Let me believe in what I believe in. And that's okay. And let's everybody just love everybody.
What kind of religion's that? No, you need to be more draconian. There's got to be like,
well, I'm still the boss.
No, that's fair enough. Well, you've got that going, and you've got the money as well, so that's all.
Yeah, and I'll take and you got to give me all your money.
So, as you well know, I said beforehand, I asked the fans for some questions. I've written some of my own as well, and we're going to be sharing a bit of time together talking about stuff. Some obviously you're going to have been asked quite a few times before. I'll try and put a different spin on certain things, and the first one I'm actually going to ask for a fan question. So Sean Rankin wrote in and said, it's not really a question per se, but just to let Missy know that I enjoy her on Twitter/X account. A lot of pretty straightforward assessments of wrestling today and in years past. And I've heard you on interviews in years gone by, over the last 10 years or so. And you've always got some really good takes on professional wrestling.
Right, thank you.
Which is nice to hear as well. I mean, how much of modern wrestling do you watch now?
I watch a lot. My favorite's Game Changer, of course. And I love New Japan. I watch some Mexican, some AAA. I mean, I've got an eclectic style of a little bit of everything that I like to watch and enjoy. But there's just so much wrestling out there now. Mm-hmm. And if you have Triller TV, you can see every indie promotion out there. I work for Phoenix Championship Wrestling, which I love them. There's just, I like the indie stuff. I really like the indie stuff.
What
better than I like AEW or WWE. Yeah, I like it better.
Why? What's the? I mean, there's huge differences, of course, but what appeals to you to indie?
I guess because I think the guys there have more of a hunger for it, more of a want for it, and try harder. It's like the minor league hockey, and then you have major league hockey. The minor leaguers are all rare, and because they want to make it to the majors. So, to me, when I lived in Atlanta, before Atlanta got a major league hockey team, they had a AHL. I think it was IHL or AHL hockey team. Minor league hockey team, and I loved going to those. I loved watching those. So,
just apropos of nothing, I remember. It's not what Robert Fuller. It was I've lost his brother's name in my head. Didn't he buy a minor league hockey team?
Oh, he bought yeah. Which Fuller was that? I forget. Ron Fuller.
Ron Fuller. I'm sorry, Ron.
Yeah. He had a part of the Nashville, and it was like a minor team. So
yeah,
they let me go and throw out the puck there one time.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah. I was so excited. I put it. I was like going, okay, and then I dropped it.
With because you said you still watch some of the major wrestling leagues, AEW, WWE, and stuff like that, and it's sort of it's an easy yet really difficult question to quantify. But what are the biggest differences you see from when you broke in to what you see now?
Well, now it's just the matches are a lot more fast paced, a lot more acrobatic, a lot more gymnastics. And as a matter of fact, I took my girlfriend. Paulie got me and my girlfriend tickets to the WWE that came to Tallahassee, and we go. And he got me second row ringside, so we were right there at the thing. And my girlfriend knows nothing about wrestling, and she looked at me during the girls' match. She goes, "It's like Dancing with the Stars meets gymnastics." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." She goes, "It's so choreographed, and it's just, and it looks choreographed." And I remember in one of the matches, one of the guys' matches, that they missed a spot. They did it 3 times until they got it right. And I'm like, in the old days, if you missed something, you wouldn't go and do it again. You would just keep going, and you did everything in the ring, and you called the match in the ring. Now, there's one big dressing room and everybody gets together and they go over their matches, spot by spot by spot by spot by spot. And I think what's missing is they don't go out and watch the people that went before them. So they don't give the fans the same thing or don't steal stuff from other people. That's a big thing, And I remember when a pile driver or a figure 4 was a finishing move. Now that's nothing. That's just nothing. So
unless Ric Flair did a figure 4.
Yeah.
But it never ended the match.
Exactly.
Something I remember you saying quite a few years ago. I don't remember where you said it, but it's very true. I don't know if it's as true in 2024 as it was maybe 10 years ago. Who knows? But it's certainly true in AEW crowds. Is you look out into a crowd and it's just man, 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 man.
Yeah.
What's stopping women coming to modern sports entertainment, or at least buying tickets to come to the live shows?
I have no idea. Most women, like when I go to, especially autograph signings, it's mostly women with their boyfriends or husbands and they're tagging along. They don't want to be there. They're like, they want to be with their guy. Like I would go with my guy to something like I've gone with him to a few things that I didn't really care to go to, but like football or something like that. Then I'll go, tag along or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, I loved wrestling when I first saw it on TV. I fell in love with it and went as a fan and loved it as a fan. So I have no idea what's changed. I have no idea. Maybe women think it's kind of weird to see guys in little tights rolling around on each other or something. I don't know.
I thought that might have been the appeal. Is it not?
It was appeal for me.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, how many, when you were a fan, in your teenage years, you're in the crowd, what was the percentage of women to men or ratio? Was it more women, more men?
It was more men. And then they had that, it was a Japanese girls show during WrestleMania weekend. And it was all the girls that were dressed like little schoolgirls, but different outfits. I forget what brand it was.
So like Stardom or something, or Marigold?
Maybe that's what Stardom. No, it wasn't Stardom. It was, this was all Japanese girls. Well, maybe it was Stardom. I'm not sure, but they all are like, they look like Maki Ito.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, but it's like, one Maki Ito is nice, but 20 of them, and there was not one female in the crowd. It was all men, so.
It's funny, back in the day, I believe in the 90s, all the women, the women's only federations, all in the crowd would be women.
Yeah.
As well. So I don't know when that
I know. I don't know what happened.
I was going to say I'm going to read this fella's question out as well, but he's given like an indecipherable bunch of names. FFV. These are usernames through YouTube, so I mean sometimes it might not make sense. He or she says, I got to know Missy's take on the wild scene at the, and I don't understand all of this, Kookaburra and Maze in the Carolinas, Carney's Little People, RVs, old as hell rings. Just seems right for a documentary. And I know Missy must have heard about all the allegations made by those trained. They're being ripped off and worse. So I'm going to lead off with this and say, did Fabulous Moolah or anyone like that ever try and bring you into the fold and make you a women's wrestler?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when I went to Cauliflower Alley in 19 90, I think it was. Moolah was there. And she's like, you need to come and let me train you to work. And I was like, no, I'm too old for that. And then I realized just what I said. And this was before she did the thing with Mae Young and everything. And I was like, whoops, you know, but I, for some reason, wrestling, I don't want to break a nail. And I'm a girly girl. And I did cat fights, and that was enough for me. That was enough for me. And we didn't know what we were doing when we were doing our stuff. I mean, we were just told to go out there and fight. And we did. And Dark Journey beat my ass every night for a couple of years, and every night. And to the point that, like, I'd never cry in the dressing room, because you never want to cry in the dressing room, because, oh boy, then you really get ribbed. But we'd get in the car and I'd be like, ah, it hurts, this hurts, that hurts, and now I'm paying for it because I need 2 new shoulders. They want to put a plate and screw in my neck, plate and screws in my neck, and I have bad sciatica and stuff like that. And people want to say wrestling's fake. I'm like, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I really fought my way. I had to fight my way out of it. Sunshine was easy. She was like, that was nothing. But yeah, Dark Journey really beat me up. So
you did quite a lot of wrestling for Dory Funk in the 2000s as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
So what led you to just start like wrestling relatively often then?
I don't know, but I just wrestled less than a year ago in Lubbock, Texas. I had a match. I did a dive from the ring into the guys that were on the floor. I did a dive. That was my finishing. That not my finishing, but that was my big spot of the night. Because I never really. I took one wrestling lesson with Billy, the guy that trained Ultimate Warrior and Sting.
Yeah,
Bill Anderson. Yeah. I think it was Bill Anderson out in California. Yeah, at Slammer's Gym. I took a couple wrestling lessons, and I got bruised all up. He was teaching me how to hit the ropes, and I was all bruised on the side of my leg. And I'm like, you know what? I'm a girly girl. And then in 94 or 95, when I moved to New York, I went to Johnny Roth's gym, and they were having us do all these rolls and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to learn how to do that. I just need to learn a few moves so I can at least look decent in the ring. And I wrestled Sherry Martel in Canada years ago, early 2000s. And it's true. She can wrestle a broom and make it look good, because I was the broom. And she made the match look good. She suplexed me. She did a few moves on me. It was really, really amazing. And I was so nervous. And she's like, honey, we didn't talk about the match, nothing. We knew what the finish was. And she says, honey, just listen to me. And we got in the ring, and I listened to her and did everything she said. And it was a decent match. I mean, 1 star or half a star, but it was, for me, it was good.
It wasn't a dud.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Did you have to resist being independent as far as not being with a group like Fabulous Moolah's group? Was there like pressure to join her sort of traveling troupe or anything?
No, nothing. No, not at all. Because I had already started with Johnny Tatum, in World Class. And so, I had my own thing going on. And I was working, when I met her, I was in WCW at the time. So I was never pressured.
Next question is, Macho Hogan says, Myssy was friends with Warrior's first wife, Sherry. Does Myssy have any memories of a young Warrior? We'll leave it there for now. There's a follow-up, apparently, so I'll leave it there for now.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, Sherry and I worked together at a club in Atlanta. And it was so funny because I had wrestling posters in my locker, and one of the girls took a magazine and had Kamala in her locker as a joke, but we had I had wrestlers in my locker at work, and Sherry and I were really, really good friends, but they had ended up, she'd filed for divorce because he would do, he was in a magazine, and you could pay him, and he'd come and you could take pictures of him, and he'd bodybuild. It was one of those kind of things. And so she found out that he would it's okay to do it in front of men, but women, she found out that he was doing it with women. So she got really upset and she filed for divorce, but then they came back together again and got back together. But I never met him until, God, late. later on. I always missed him. Like I was in world class, and then when I went to UWF, they had already left. And went to Memphis, he had already left. So we never saw each other.
It's funny because I just stopped myself from saying any truth to the Escort stories about Warrior, and I hadn't read the question thoroughly when I picked it, and I've never heard that before. So
you never heard that story?
Somehow I've missed that one out. So when you say when he was posing, I'm presuming it was in a client's hotel room and
or house or whatever.
Did this ever become more than posing? Do you know?
I don't know. See, that's what Sherry thought. Sherry thought he was, and so that's why she originally, I think, filed for divorce. But then they got back together again.
I've also I said Sherry because this fella spelled it S-H-A, so I say him how I read him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
He also follows up with, was Warrior liked by anyone in the UWF? There's a rare picture of Warrior with Rick and Scott Steiner in 86. Was Warrior a friend of Rick? And it seems strange to see the 86 pic with how Scott Steiner was spoken about Warrior in later years.
Yeah, I don't know because I wasn't there then. So I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
We shall move on. This is something I'm very interested in. I'm presuming you saw the Iron Claw.
Yeah.
Well, before I ask the question, what do you think of the film? You were there at the time. Did it?
How
true did it ring?
It sucked ass.
Oh, really?
Excuse my language. Yeah, I think if I was Ric Flair, I would find that actor and beat him up. And the guy that played Kerry, it'd be very hard to find an actor to play Kerry Von Erich because Kerry Von Erich was a god. He looked like a god. He was gorgeous, beautiful body. When he walked through the airport, if you didn't know he was a wrestler, you would think he was a superstar or a superhero. You know, it's just he looked like a professional athlete. Somebody, he's a celebrity. He's somebody. He's something because that's how the aura around him was. Same with Kevin. You know, the dad was great to me. The mom was great to me. I think they portrayed the mom really bad. I think they portrayed the dad pretty bad in there. I think I cried during it. And when Chris went to go and kill himself, I walked out of the movie and I didn't see the ending of it. The only decent part of it was when Kevin met his wife. That was cute. I thought that was really cute. But the beginning, when they show Bruiser Brody going over the match, Bruiser Brody never went over the matches with anybody. We had separate dressing rooms. Nobody ever, and I was always told never to talk to Bruiser Brody, to stay away from him because he's crazy. You know, so I'd sit in the corner with a book, you know, with my head down, you know, hiding in the corner because there was no girl dressing rooms back then.
It was Mike, not Chris, because they left Chris out entirely.
Right, they left Chris out. I meant when Mike went to go kill himself. When Mike went, because I was there then, and so I was there when that happened, and it just tore me to bits.
Yeah, it's one of those things because I watched the film as well. I watched it with a friend who doesn't know the story, and the common theme is if you know the story, you don't enjoy it as much as someone who does know the story.
Right, yeah. And now it's on HBO, so I'm seeing ads for it.
Are you going to give it a go again, or
no? I refuse. I should have asked for my money back too.
Have you ever done that at a cinema? Because I've never done that, and I've seen some crappy films.
I have. I've asked for my money back before.
Oh, which film?
I don't remember when it was, but I remember we went to one, and there was a bunch of people there, and they were all blah 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 blah. It was like nuts. Yeah.
I nearly asked for my money back watching The Grinch with Jim Carrey. That was terrible. That film.
Yeah. I'm not a Jim Carrey fan.
With because you mentioned Fritz, so you say that the actor who played him was very good indeed. I thought he was
the guy that played him looked great. He looked like him and everything like that. But other than that, you know, they had him be mean. And you know, this is a man who, when he was starting out wrestling, he would go to a restaurant and order a hot bowl of water and ice water, and he would with lemons, and he'd make lemonade with the sugar and lemons and take ketchup and put it in the bowl and make tomato soup and eat the crackers. You know, and pay 50 cents or whatever it is for the hot bowl of water. I mean, because he was struggling. You know, he everything he made, he did it on his own. He built that company and made it. And back then, World Class was like in 200 and something stations. It was syndicated more than any other show. it was an amazing product.
It was in Israel as well at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, I went to Israel.
Did you really?
And 86, it was amazing. Fans there. The only thing on TV back then was world-class wrestling, NBA basketball, and public stuff, public education and stuff. And it was so funny because I was told by my hairdresser later on, because when I moved to New York, I went to a hairdresser who was Israeli, who knew who I was. And he was like, oh my God, he goes, you could bomb Tel Aviv on a Friday night because they had sporadic electricity, problems. And so everybody would take their batteries out of their car and hook them up to their TV so they could watch world-class wrestling at 8:00 on Friday nights. He said that was like, everybody watched wrestling.
Did you get totally mobbed?
Israel.
Did you get totally mobbed?
Oh yeah, it was crazy. We had to have bodyguards and everything over there. It was amazing, amazing trip.
How long were you there for? And I mean, I'm presuming you
we
did
were there
live
for
shows.
we were there for like 11 days. We sold out the same soccer stadium like 10 nights in a row, and then the last night we were in Tel Aviv. It was amazing. Amazing time of my life.
Where else was world-class broadcast in that area?
I don't know. I have no idea. I know Israel for sure, but they were in like in America in like 200 something stations. Like it was more than WWE was. Because WWE was just up in the Northeast. I mean, we're talking early 80s, middle 80s or whatever like that, before Vince decided to take over the world. So
he was trying to get there around the same time, I think, as well. He did do some Middle East tours around 85.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I believe so. I hope I'm not talking out of school, but somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, I just met a guy at the airport that was going to Saudi Arabia, and he went to one of the wrestling shows in Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
because I know they go there now. Yeah, they go there now to Saudi Arabia. I wouldn't go, but
do you know what? I mean, morals go out the window when you get paid $50 million a show.
Exactly. Your morals, your everything goes out the window when you get paid that much money.
Absolutely.
And you might poop on somebody's head.
Well, allegedly. How hard did you laugh at the time when you read it? Because there's a bunch of very serious allegations in there.
Very serious allegations. And then you just
drop in
believed everything. I believe it all. I believe it all. Nothing would put past, nothing. It did not shock me. No, it didn't shock me.
Is this something that the women have talked about in hushed tones, I guess, over the years, and shared war stories about Vince?
Vince slept with everything. Vince slept with everything.
Dudes?
Huh?
Guys?
Oh, I don't know about that. He
seems to be really into threesomes with dudes.
Yeah. And that I don't know. Yeah. He's into threesomes and stuff, and he's just into a lot of weird stuff. But it didn't surprise me when I read that. I was just like,
yeah. Interesting. We can say at the very least. I'm looking forward to what Johnny Ace comes out with next as well.
What he says next. Yeah, he's like, he's trying to go out like, I was a victim too. If I didn't do it, I'd get fired. Yeah, okay.
He was not only a victim, he's now gone back and now he's siding with Vince and WWE because they're all defendants, and now they're all aligning their stories against Janelle Grant.
Oh my God, poor girl. Well, I called their lawyer and I told them my situation, what happened with me. So
what happened with you then? Is this during the Mrs. Manor bit?
Yeah, when I was doing Mrs. Manor. Yeah, okay. I had to push Vince out of my hotel room because he was trying to stick his tongue in my mouth.
Really?
Yeah. And after I did that, next thing I know, they want me to be a Federette. And I'm like, I don't want to be a Federette. Take jackets. Oh, well, we're going to do something with you and the honky tonk man and this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. I didn't trust them. So I left and had to go beg Jim Crockett and Dusty for a job. So.
And then, so with Vince, so is it just one of those things he knocks on your hotel room in the middle of the night?
No, he was bringing me back. No, we were in Vegas doing the tapings, and we were out. He taught me how to play blackjack. He gave me $100 and I won like $180 or something. I tried to give him all the money. He's like, no, keep it. I'm like, okay, I'll keep it.
I hate beginner's luck with blackjack as well. It suckers you in. You win every time.
Yeah. And then you win. But I didn't know like to hold on 15 and Yes, so he taught me how to play blackjack. And then we went to like a dinner at Caesar's that they poured the wine over your shoulder. It was like a 7-course meal. And this was a big group of people and stuff. And I remember I was wearing this leather dress, and what's his name? The announcer, Mean Gene, just poured coffee in my lap. And I was like, I had a couple cocktails. So I was like, oh, okay. And he said later on that they did that to see how I'd react, to see if I'd freak out and go whatever. But they were like, oh, yeah, you handled that really well. I'm like, yeah, I had a couple cocktails.
You
I was loaded. I really didn't care. But yeah, that night he took me to my hotel, walked me to my hotel room, and he was trying to get in my hotel room. And I was like, pushing him out. Yeah. I was engaged at the time. If I wasn't engaged, maybe, but he had such bad teeth. And it's like, you're a millionaire times over and you can't get your teeth fixed. He's got really bad teeth.
I mean, I've never noticed. What's up with his teeth?
Never noticed? Oh my gosh, he's got like rotten teeth.
Has he?
Yeah. Oh. It's really gross. Maybe he's gotten it fixed, but back then in the 80s, it was pretty bad. And that I didn't want to stick my tongue in that.
No, I respect your decision.
And and I've never had to sleep for a job. I mean, yes, I've done a lot of wild things with some wrestlers and stuff like that. But I never did it for a job. And I don't think I ever had to, because I think my talent speaks for itself. So I never had to sleep anywhere to get a job. So
absolutely, we shall ask some more. Hang on, I've written the Iron Claw there as well, which I've already gone for. I'm going to just ask some more fun fan questions anyway.
Okay.
Bill Holtz, this is an easy one.
Okay.
What was in your loaded Gucci bag?
I can't tell.
Come on.
I'm not telling. It's a secret that I'm taking to my grave. I'm going to be buried with my Gucci bag.
Are you doing this baby doll thing where she'll never admit what's in the envelope? Kind of thing?
Right. Yeah, of course. Think I'm going to tell?
Thing is, right, I've got a theory.
Okay.
If you weren't going to use the Gucci bag, it would be something soft in there. Sorry. It would be, if you were going to use the Gucci bag, it'd be something soft. If you were not going to use the Gucci bag, you'd have something hard in there in case a fan tried to attack you.
Oh, that's a good idea. But no, you're wrong.
Oh, okay. So not half a brick then?
No, not a half a brick.
Damn it. All right then.
There's something in there. Can't tell.
Okay, then. I'll move on. Steve W. has said, would love to hear Missy talk about her time in Mid-South/UWF and her time with Hollywood John Tatum, who you were married to at the time, weren't you?
No, I didn't marry John. I wish I would have.
I thought you did.
I wouldn't have then I wouldn't have ran off with Eddie like an idiot. I was so stupid. I didn't realize, I didn't know when I hooked up with Eddie that he was married. And then I found out later that he was, which was another totally story that I don't want to put on here because I don't want to disrespect Terry, his first wife. But, what made me think that he wouldn't cheat and lie on me, and the stupidest thing I ever did was to leave Johnny for Eddie, because me and Johnny were great working together. We were great together when we weren't even working together, because we dated for like a year before I even got in wrestling. And I loved Johnny, but if Johnny was young, we were both really young and stupid. And if I would have had hindsight to know what kind of great man he turned out to be, because he turned out to be a really great man, and I still talk to him to this day. We've reconnected and everything. We reconnected years and years ago, like 20 years ago. And he turned out to be such a great guy. And I'm like, boy, that was the one that got away. That's how I think of it. So
it's funny, actually, I watched a match with you and Dark Journey. And I don't know if it was the one where if you lose, you have to be a housemaid for the day.
Yeah.
I might be that one, but I was just looking at John Tatum and thinking they are the shortest pink shorts I've ever seen.
I know, right? Oh my God. Do you know, I just bought some of those for my boyfriend because he wanted a pair. So I found a pair of hot pink, neon pink shorts, and I gave them to my boyfriend. And so he goes, I'm channeling Hollywood John Tatum, because he loves John. He always mimics him because he's a wrestler too. He's the MK Bandit, or he is the federal director of sports entertainment out in the all over the place. He worked at the House of Hardcore, and now he works like Phoenix Championship Wrestling and Albuquerque and Salt Lake City and all that out there. Anyway, he does like he'll send me a picture of him at ringside. He'll do that. Or those the John Tatum looks, because nobody had the best looks of John Tatum. He had the best expressions. Nobody could beat him at expressions.
Why wasn't he picked up by, obviously all the territories go away?
I don't know. Yeah. I think he didn't want to, because let me tell you something. I don't think a lot of people know this. He was a golfer. He could have been on the PGA Tour, but because he had a record, he couldn't be on the PGA. But he would go out. David Manning from World Class would take him out to the golf course, and he'd come home and just pull out $100 bills. They'd be betting at the golf course. Just money. Come home, $2,000 in his pocket. He could make money playing golf. He could be a golf hustler.
But at some point, you can be a hustler, but at some point your reputation is going to precede you. So,
right.
I mean, I doubt that's going to be long. But yeah, that would have been a good idea. I'm trying to think. PGA Tour. I didn't realize you couldn't get in without with a record.
Is it PGA?
Oh yeah, PGA.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can if you have a record. Yeah.
Following on with the Mid-South thing, so I'll ask about Dark Journey in a second. Okay, there's two questions really, because this is UWF. This is 86, 87.
Right.
This is sort of the end days of Bill Watts, or at least the last year was as well. What do you sort of put the end of Bill of the UWF to? Is it just economic downturn? Is it WWF encroachment, or is it
WWF encroachment and Crockett encroachment? Everybody encroaching on his territory and everything. And I think he just decided to sell and get out while there was viable money to be made, and someone that just to come in and just take over. Because, Vince could have just came over and just taken over, and ran the buildings that we had and just take over, steal the talent. That's what he did. Steal Junkyard Dogs, steal your top talent, and then go run your show. Then go run shows in your buildings. So I think he was smart. He did it when he did. But Crockett, the way they did it, they could have kept it two different entities, because, they loved their Houston wrestling. They loved their world-class, UWF wrestling. And if he would have kept it two entities, he could have made a lot of money, but he didn't. He had all the Crockett guys come in and make all the UWF guys do jobs for him.
Mm-hmm.
And just bury everybody and make them look bad. And it's like, when you could have ran two shows a night, you could have ran one in Crockett and one in UWF and make so much money. But instead, you just wanted to bury all the guys. It didn't make any sense to me. Didn't make any. And Paul Bosch had the great wrestling, out of Houston, his own show and stuff. Screwed over for poor Bob Bosch. That was really bad.
Yeah, he disappeared in 87 as well, I think. So
yeah.
The funny thing with UWF, I gather, is that Crockett bought the promotion for millions.
Yeah.
To then kill it off immediately.
That makes no sense.
Were you in the locker room when Dusty came in that day?
Yeah.
Tell me about that day and what he says.
I just remember them coming in and saying that they're going to keep it separate and this, that, and the other, and they're going to merge, and they're going to put some talent here and some talent there. And then they were going to open up a Kansas City office too. And everybody was going to move to Dallas, and it was going to be W Wrestling News Network.
That came out in 90. We'll talk about Wrestling News Network in a bit, actually. I've got that mentioned somewhere, but that was in the 90s. Who gets the blame for UWF's horrendous booking? Because, it's almost like a...
Bill Watts.
It's like a... Oh, really?
I think.
No, I don't... I mean, during the merger.
Bill Watts. And Dusty.
Why Bill during the merger, then? I thought he was just bought out and he disappeared.
Well, no, he bought out and disappeared, and then Dusty came in and then just had everybody lose to everybody and just bury everybody. And they took over the programming and changed the name to Crockett. So
you were with Eddie at this time,
right? Yeah, I was with Eddie at the time.
So how long did it take for you to see the writing on the wall and just go somewhere else?
Right at the beginning. The first thing I said when I met Crockett was, I'm going to the WWE and I'm going to get a doll I want out of my contract. He's like, you're out of your contract. I'm like, thank you. And then 3 months later, I come back to him and like, hi, can I have a job? He's like, go talk to Dusty. So I went and talked to Dusty, and Dusty's like, yeah, we'll do something with you. So, I came back, and then we were back for a little bit. And then, Eddie with his hot head burns bridges, and then he leaves. And then we go to Memphis for a while, and then we go to Alabama for a while, and then go back when Crockett got on TBS. Then we went back.
I'm glad you mentioned Alabama, because I also do a weekly podcast with Dutch Mantell.
Oh, okay. Dutch is one of the smartest guys in wrestling. He could. Why he's not booking WWE or AEW, I don't know. I really don't know.
It's funny, the few times that we get on booking chats, because normally we react to the news, we tell our stories and stuff, and then sometimes I'll say, what would you have done in this situation? And it's something like, if he's actually watched, let's say, a match, and he will see it lay out, and then just off the top of his head, he will come out with a 2-month plan that was 100 times better than what it's taken people weeks to come up with.
Oh yeah, he can lay out matches and lay out programs. I mean, my program should not be started the first hour and then blown off by the third hour. And that's what I have a really big issue with the modern day WWE product and AEW, is that they start something and blow it off the same night. It's just too fast paced for me. I like my stuff angles drawn out. I want to have this match, and then the next match, and then the next match. And I want it to lead up to the big, 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 big thing. I want a 6-month program or a year program. To me, that's better. Like Steamboat Flair. How would you start that and then finish that in 3 hours?
It's happened. Yeah. It's happened quite a few times.
I know, and I don't get it. I'm maybe I'm not young, and I'm ADHD and young. I'm ADHD and old, but maybe if I was young, I could get it, because everything is such fast pace, and with your TikTok and this, that, and the other, and Snapchat and this, that, and the other. But to me, no, I like it laid out. I wanna. Like Bill Watts was really great, and it shows that it would leave you at the end of the show wanting to see what happens next. I mean, I want the soap opera. I love General Hospital. Like, I watch my General Hospital. I've been watching it since 1981, I believe. And I still look forward to General Hospital every day. I love my storylines, and I love storylines that go long. And I want to be able to wait till next week or wait to the next show. But there's just so much wrestling on TV now. It's just like, it's not like your weekly show that you can wait to see what happens next week.
Yeah, you as Dutch used to say in TNA, said you book for one person, cliff hanger. And it always rolls over. It always rolls over to the next week. So if you just have a self-contained show, say, "Well, that was a great show," but now I've got nothing to look for anyway. But
exactly. Yeah. I mean, Dutch knows how to do that, and maybe because he's old school and he knows how to really do a program that makes sense. Everything doesn't make sense now, so maybe he's too smart.
The reason that I brought Dutch up is because he always says that the Fuller territory, apart from maybe Memphis, was his favourite place to be, because he just had a great time there, and he said they knew what they were doing. They were packing it. Well, I'd say packing in the crowds. I don't know. I mean, what was a typical crowd in the Fuller territory in '88?
Oh my God! Well, Eddie drew up. Eddie got the Boutwell Auditorium up. We're saying, I'm talking like maybe 5,000 people, something like that. Nothing spectacular, anything like that. But I mean, you have to understand, we were running it every week. Back in the day, you could run Dallas every Friday night, and Fort Worth, which is 30 miles away, every Monday night. You could run a town every single week and draw people. People would come, pay for parking, pay for admission, pay for popcorn, and come watch their wrestlers. But there's so much of it on TV now that why go to the arena and watch it live when I can sit at home and watch it for free?
Yeah, but it's so expensive.
Why go pay for it? Yeah. Yeah, why go pay for it when I can see it all for free?
Yeah, I mean, do you know, having a show here, Clash at the Castle, WWE, in a few weeks, the entry ticket is the equivalent of about $360, $380 for the worst seats.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And
it's a shame the wrestlers. Yeah, and it'll sell out.
Yeah.
And the wrestlers won't get what they deserve.
With that being said, it was Dutch's favourite territory working for the Fullers. Was it yours? Where does it rank?
No.
How did you enjoy it? No.
Oh, it ranks up there. I had a great time there. But my favorite's World Class. My favorite's World Class.
Excuse me.
I guess that's where I started, so.
Yeah, soft spot for it. And it was in the best days as well until.
Yeah, I was in the last days before it died. Yeah. So, and I really think back now, and I'm like, if we would have all not left, maybe it would have had another year to go. But we all left and went to UWF. Ken Mantell took all the talent and kind of left and kind of killed it. And I regret that.
Yeah. Well, the Von Erichs didn't do themselves any favors, and they
favors because they were no showing all the time. Yeah.
So it's funny. Not to turn this into a Dutch Mantell tribute show, but he told me a story. He in 1990 or something when USWA. It was USWA and USWA Memphis and Dallas for a brief time,
right?
And or CWA. Anyway, they merged, and Dutch was opposite Kevin Von Erich, or he was meant to be. But people had seen Kevin earlier that day, and then he just disappeared. He did what he did for a few hours, and then he actually turned up while the match was going on. He just walked straight out from the building, through the crowd, then got onto the ring apron, and then did the claw and that kind of thing.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like Kevin.
Yeah. With that being said, you mentioned Eddie before. We've brought him up a couple of times. So there are a few questions about Eddie, if you're okay. F. Deadly Commissar says, what was Eddie Gilbert like as a person? Not a wrestler, not the booker, but the person.
A lying, cheating husband.
Simple as that.
Yeah. I didn't know about, it was, my dad came up with my nephew to build my fence at my house. And he had one beer and he was just so drunk. I didn't know about pills. I didn't know that he was taking pills and taking stuff at the time. I didn't know. I was blind, Maybe I didn't want to know, So
something I've heard about Eddie numerous times is that he was just simply too obsessed with wrestling.
Yeah,
he's 24/7.
Could he 24/7, and that's all he cared about. I bought him a boat, hoping that, after he got off the booking committee, I thought, well, if you have a boat, maybe you can go fishing and relax or go skiing. It was a ski boat. It was a really, really nice boat. He took it out maybe twice. I had a horse, so I would ride my horse every day. So when I was going through the bad times in WCW, at least I had an outlet to do, a hobby or something. He didn't have a hobby. His hobby and his work and everything was wrestling.
So how come he could never turn off then?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I'll ask one more thing about Eddie. We'll move on to WCW.
Sure.
What led to Eddie forming a professional relationship of sorts with Dave Meltzer? Because there are a few wrestlers out there who, became friends with Dave and some of the other, at the time, termed dirt sheet writers.
Well, let me tell you, we used to get the sheet. I remember first time I saw it was in UWF, and we were at the barn doing interviews, and everybody would take the sheet and pass it around. I have number 2, who has 3 and 4, or stuff like that, and we'd all read it and scan it for our names and read what's going on in different territories. But there was no internet back then. So the only way we got information was from the sheets, and I called Dave myself one time and said, hey, is this right? Is this right? And asked him questions and stuff, and became friends with Dave. I've been friends with Dave since, God knows, 87, maybe 88. Long time.
I'll come back to the second half of the question in a second. Do you think, there's been, over the past 5-6 years, I don't know if it goes with Bruce Pritchard and Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo and certain people with podcasts, they give Dave Meltzer a very hard time. Do you think that's pretty much unwarranted criticism?
That's unwarranted. Dave is smart. Dave knows more about wrestling. He's like a historian / everything. I used to call it the stewed sheet. I found out that I was leaving one territory and going to another territory by reading it in Meltzer's sheet. I mean, he had the finger on the pulse of the business, and he still does. He still I love his take on things. He is 99.9% correct on anything he has to say. He's just so intelligent.
Why do certain wrestlers or performers gravitate to sharing information with the Dave Meltzer?
Because they want their side out. They want their side of the story out.
When did Eddie realize that he could use the newsletters for his own gain? Because I know later on, I believe he actually got Eastern Championship Wrestling coverage in the newsletter.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because it was doing good. You know, he took a small little group with Todd Gordon, you know, made it a hot little group. So they ended up being ECW. You know?
I think I talked to Todd not too long ago, and I believe he said they got no coverage until Eddie just picked up the phone one day and said, "You need to start covering ECW," and then lo and behold.
Right. And lo and behold, there it goes.
There you go.
Yeah.
We shall move on to some WCW stuff, and then we'll have a little break. Immediately, I can't go any further, really, without asking for some Jim Herd stories.
Oh, my gosh, Jim Herd, Mr. Pizza Hut, man. Yeah. He was just not very smart. I just feel so bad for him. I think, you know, he got his job because he was a friend of a friend or whatever and put him in the position, and he just, you know, the ding-dongs, that says it all.
Was he...
Ding-dong.
Did you ever sit on any of the creative meetings?
Not really. I mean, I would go on when I started being an announcer, then I would be in there for the booking meetings, you know, before the show, because they would have the director and everybody in there, and Dusty would say, "Okay, we'll get this. Make sure you get this on camera. Make sure you get this on camera, and we're going to do this, and we're going to cut to this, and we're going to do a promo." You know, we'd go over the run sheets. I wish I would have kept those sheets, because, you know, it was just how they ran, how the TV show was done, and how it was produced. I wish I would have kept all those sheets, but I'm such a hoarder. I got so much stuff now anyway. It would just be another box full of stuff out in my garage. But
just memorabilia, or
yeah, I got so much stuff. It's amazing. And I talked to Steve Kern. He said, and if you die, it's not worth anything unless it's signed. So I've been going through my stuff, signing my own stuff. I feel like such a dork. I'm signing my own stuff.
But it gets value to it, so why not?
Adds value, yeah, because he said it's not worth anything unless you sign it. So I'm like, okay. So I have to go through it. And I got VHS tapes. I've got DVDs and just stuff, you know, people have given me of my work. And it's like, I have a VHS tape. What am I going to do with a VHS tape?
Sign it and sell it.
Yeah, right. Somebody, I don't know. It's only got my stuff on it though. I want to keep it. You know, maybe I'll find a VHS tape at a VH.
Make a copy. Make a copy and then sell the original.
I should. Yeah, I should.
I'm glad.
Can you hear that in your ear?
No. Why is there noise?
Good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's my earbud, but it's okay as long as you can't hear it.
Oh no, don't worry.
Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned announcer, because I've heard that Jim Herd, for whatever reason, valued the announcers more than the wrestlers.
Yeah.
At one point, why?
I don't know. Maybe because he liked Jim Ross. You know, because Jim Ross was so smart, and he was in the office. You know, and Jim knew what was going on. So,
when did you make the leap from just on-camera performer, you know, as a valet manager, to announcer?
Well, you know, I was managing the Steiners, and they were really not doing anything with me. And then we did the thing with Susan Green, with Nancy Sullivan, and we could have done something with that, but they wouldn't do anything with it. You know, they could have split the Steiners up for a while and have me go with Scott. I mean, me go with Scott and her go with Rick and do a program. We could have done cat fights and stuff like that, but they didn't want to do that, you know. And then I was taken off TV for a while because allegedly I screamed at Ric Flair. I don't remember screaming at Ric Flair for anything, but I love Rick. I always tell him when I see him, I'm like, I'm really disappointed I haven't been one of your wives. You know, I mean, I love Rick. And so I don't ever remember screaming at him. But anyway, Jim Ross is the one that is the reason why I became an announcer. Jim Ross saw that in me and said, I want you to host a show with me. And co-host the show and stuff like that. So if it wasn't for Jim, I would have never lasted as long in WCW. And when Jim left WCW, my career went, because Jim wasn't there to put in the meetings to say, hey, let Myssy do this or let Myssy do that. Let Myssy do this, put my name forward. You have to have somebody in those booking meetings that will vie for you. If you don't, forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Ask Shane. Like Shane was just telling me the story of when they were talking bad about Shane, and I came out of the booking meeting and said, Shane, they're talking really bad stuff about you. That's when he got let go, So you have to have somebody in there to be on your side. If you don't, forget about it.
Did you get a pay bump when you became an announcer? Because that's something else I've heard, is that he would pay the announcers well.
No, I got the same pay that I did as a manager. And I was the lowest paid person in WCW. Yet on the hotline, the 900 hotline, I made the company over $500,000 a year for 3 years in a row.
Oh, we'll be getting there.
Never paid. Oh, yeah.
We'll be getting there, don't you worry.
And my calendar, my 1994 calendar, sold more calendars than the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. It was the #1 selling calendar. It sold 64,000 copies at $19.99. You know how much money I got for it?
$0?
$18.
No. What does that work out to per calendar? Less than a penny?
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned calendars, actually. So I was talking with Shane at WrestleCon, and a fan brought the calendar that he was
the danger zone. The danger zone. That's the funniest thing. It's such a bait and switch, that calendar, because it's got me on the cover. It says, what is it? 1987, 88 Danger Zone calendar. And then you open it up. There's Shane Douglas in little blue tights.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Mr. February. Hello.
Yeah. And then there's Michael Hayes with his ass, showing his ass, and it's like, it's so gay. The calendar, it's so gay. If you look at it, it's like these guys getting it and they think they're getting a DVD, it's got me and Magnum hosting it, which was the worst DVD ever in wrestling history. And you get the calendar and you open it up and you're like, what?
Do you know what's even creepier that I noticed, right? So I was looking at Shane flip through them. So there he is in tiny little blue trunks. And then the next month, there's someone else in tiny little blue trunks. Then the next month, there's someone in tiny little blue trunks. And I was like, dude.
Oh, no.
Dude, were you all wearing the same pair of trunks?
Probably.
And Shane, and I just saw Shane's face and went, oh, my God.
Probably.
So I ruined that one for him, but never mind. Yeah, the bait and switch calendar. Oh, a few people wrote this in. The Jack Boy wrote this in, said, "Would you have posed for Playboy when you were in WCW?"
As a matter of fact, they called me and I went to Chicago and did a test shoot for them.
Really?
And I went back and told Jim about it, and Jim took it to the board, and they said I couldn't do it because they didn't want to have on-air talent and on-air TBS talent posed in Playboy. So I got itched. I was going to get I was going to get the cover and a pictorial, and I was going to get like $30,000. I think it was $20,000 for the pictorial and $10,000 for the cover.
What was their reasoning? Morality or something? Or
morality, yeah. That Southern boys team morality. They didn't want me in it. They don't realize what it would have done for the company.
They would have had to have paid you more.
In hindsight.
Maybe it was that. Maybe they thought, damn, she's going to be a big star off this.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you ever get any other offers over the years? Or because I know...
Any other what?
Offers for Playboy.
Well, no, that time I did.
Just that one.
And then, just that one time. And then me and Tammy did our own, before porn is all over the place, me and Tammy did the Vixens website in 2000 and made a killing off that. But the guy that was my business partner stole all the money. So
it's funny how wrestling and porn have got so many things in common in that respect.
Yeah. Sleazy people that steal money.
Yeah. This would have come later, but Tammy is now incarcerated. An opinion. I mean, quite frankly, everyone saw it coming.
She killed somebody.
Yeah.
And we all said she's going to kill somebody. She's going to kill somebody. She's going to kill somebody. And she ended up killing somebody. And I think it's really, really sad. And I feel really, really bad for her. But you know what? just think, she was only caught 6 times. How many times she drive drunk?
Mm-hmm.
I've been with her when she was fucked up. I was fucked up too at the time, I mean, back in the day, not anymore. But yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. I feel bad for the family. Didn't have to happen. She had enough money. Get an Uber.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to ask a couple of questions about Paul Heyman, then we'll have a little break.
Okay.
Justin Dawson says, going to Great American Bash 1991, you had a program with Paul Heyman, and they were going to do a mixed tag. Arn Anderson and Paul Heyman versus Missy Hyatt and Rick Steiner. The Athletic Commission wouldn't allow a woman versus man, so Missy was kidnapped. How early on did Missy know the match wouldn't happen?
That night.
Oh, really?
That night. Yeah. I found out that night that it wasn't going to happen and that the hardliners were going to kidnap me, and they dropped me on my head and I got a concussion.
No.
And because when he threw me over his shoulder, he was sweaty and everything. And I went boop and hit my head. Doop. And I came back to the ring. I was like Tweety Birds, but I didn't know anything. And then they kidnapped me, and then they never said anything about it afterwards. It was like they kidnapped me, and then I was back on TV the next week. No, where was I? Who knows? Nothing. It was such a letdown for everybody. And plus, I have that poster in my bedroom, framed and matted, which I don't want to undo it because it has, it's been professionally done to sign it to make it worth anything. But the Flair versus Luger match didn't take place, and everybody chanted, "We want Flair" that night in Baltimore. Yeah, and my match didn't take place. And I told them, all I do is run in and get the pin. I don't wrestle. We did that match everywhere on the Great American Bash tour, and the same thing. Either it was PN News or the Steiners or whoever against Paul and whoever, and they beat him up, and I go in 1, 2, 3 and win the match. That was the blow off for it, because we had the feud going for a few months, and it didn't get the blow off because the hardliners kidnapped me.
It's funny that pay-per-view, I seem to remember one of the only matches that actually did take place was Billy Jack Haynes versus Black Blood. Sorry, he was Black Blood, the axe with the axe.
Yeah, it was Sting and Nikita in a chain match too, I think. Did that take place?
Oh, was that Luger? Was it not Luger?
No, it was Luger versus Flair.
And and then it was Luger versus Barry Windham, wasn't it? Because that got switched out.
Yeah, I think so.
And then to send the fans home pissed off, Luger turned heel.
Yeah.
I was thinking the only other one I remember is PN News in a scaffold match.
Oh my God, I remember that. That did happen? Oh my gosh.
I think that did happen, yeah, that one.
Yikes.
With the commission, I can't even believe there were commissions in 91 at this point making decisions. Oh yeah,
there were commissions everywhere. I mean, we had commission in Texas. There was a commission in California. New York still has a commission in New York. There's commission still around, and there's a commission in Oklahoma now. Did you hear what happened at AEW?
No.
The one guy that is a girl that identifies as a girl,
Nyla Rose.
Nyla Rose put on her application that she was a female. They have a thing that no males can wrestle females in Oklahoma.
Right.
So she's been suspended from working in Oklahoma because she lied on the application saying she's a woman.
Right.
And she wrestled a man.
I see. Yeah, I see.
So that sucks. That sucks for her. I think that's bad.
With the commission in your case,
I identify as a young, beautiful millionaire.
I'm trying to think.
What do you identify as?
A black midget.
Speaking of midgets, you know who my favorite wrestler is now?
Oh, go on.
Microman.
Who's Microman? I don't know.
Oh my God, you don't watch GCW?
No. I barely watch WWE.
Oh my God, you're missing Microman. You got to check out Microman. Google Microman. He is the best wrestler in the world. He's so cute. He sits in the back in the dressing room on his luggage like it's a pot of gold. And
right, I'm looking at him. Microman faces off with the bad boy Joey Janela.
Yeah, Microman rocks, man. He's the best.
I will promise you, I will watch it. I will promise
Check
you.
him, Microman. He wins the Battle Royal, the Joey Janela Spring Break, he wins the Battle Royal. So check out Joey Janela Spring Break when I hit Joey with the purse. It's a great match.
What's the purse loaded with?
Can't tell you.
God damn it. I'll ask you a couple more about, because this is also relating to Paul Heyman.
Okay.
N. Baldwin says, can you really beat Paul Heyman in an arm wrestling match?
Of course I can.
Have you actually ever tried?
Of course I can. No, I've never tried, but I could.
And the last one is, God, I'm going to blow this guy's name. Tolly says, thoughts on Paul Heyman and his trajectory through the wrestling world?
Well, let me tell you something. I think wrestling would have gone the way of roller derby and been, if it wasn't for Paul Heyman. Mm-hmm. Paul Heyman's vision, Paul Heyman's ideas, Paul Heyman has kept WWE. I mean, thank you, Paul, because my stock, I bought it at really low and it's really high now. If it wasn't for Paulie, I'd have lost my ass on WWE stock. So he's a brilliant mind. When did you buy the stock? What year? Oh my God, the year that it came.
Oh, so 1999.
Yeah.
When did you sell it, or have you not sold it yet?
I've never sold it. I haven't sold it. I've made so much money. I mean, it's worth what I paid for it, and what it's worth is amazing. It's the only stock I've made money on.
So yeah, if you've left it now, it'd be about 10 times what you paid.
Oh,
for
at least. I paid like nothing for it. I think I paid like $18 or something.
Oh, when it first came out, it was like 15, and then it sank to under 10 for years.
Yeah. I got it.
Are you ever going to cash it out?
No. Probably never. No. I just like having it because I get the paperwork and stuff, and I get to vote and everything. Vote for people, which it doesn't matter because I'm such a minimal stockholder, but I still get all the paperwork all the time about the company. So it's kind of cool. Right. So a couple more WCW questions and then the 1-900 hotline. I know that it's fascinating to me anyway.
Sylvain, among others, have said her run, her being you, of course, Myssy, run with the Nasty Boys was really great. Do you think you could have managed other wrestlers, and if so, which ones?
Oh my God. Well, I wanted to manage the Hollywood Blondes, but they kind of did them dirty. It would have been perfect. Me with the Hollywood Blondes, that would have been perfect. Me and the Nasty Boys were okay, but they never let me do interviews. Like when we do the interviews, I'd get only a couple of words in and then they'd start screaming, but with the Hollywood Blondes, it would have been so much better to manage them. I would have loved to have managed them, but they made me see, I didn't want to be a manager. I wanted to be an announcer. And when I broke up with somebody, he was good friends with Eric Bischoff, and Eric Bischoff had taken over, and Eric Bischoff made me a manager. And because he knew that's what I didn't want to do, I wanted to stay as an announcer. I love doing the locker room interviews against Stan Hansen and all that stuff. I love doing the interviews and opening the show and interviewing people. I love doing that. So
it's funny you mentioned the Stan Hansen one, because Shane and I, when we were doing our podcast, we actually watched back separately where you were interviewing Stan Hansen. Wasn't he in the shower?
Yeah, he was in the shower, and he comes out. He's got tobacco all on his face. He's spitting tobacco at me. Get out of here, you heifer! Takes his cowboy hat and he pulls his pants up, and he starts spanking me, and I'm like, ah. I watch it now. I just watched it recently, and I hadn't seen it in 20 years or whatever. And I watched it recently, and I'm like, oh my God, that was so campy. I mean, now it was campy, cool though. Back then, but it was
wrestling campy.
It was good campy. I think it was really, really good.
Yeah.
Now I can still giggle at it now after 30 years. Can giggle at it.
Did you ever put in a request to manage Steve and Brian?
No, I did. I said, why don't I manage them? And Dusty was like, no, you're going to manage the Nasty Boys. And I was like, okay. I didn't know I was going to manage them until I got there that night.
Oh, really? Did they have the outfit for you and everything, or?
No, they just told me to come and dress like Madonna.
Right.
That's what I was told by Janie Engel, called me and said, come to TV tonight and bring some Madonna-ish outfits. So I was like, okay. I didn't know what I was going to do. It was like when they dressed me up for Halloween Havoc one year as a bad witch and a good witch and stuff. Like I never knew. And then they dressed me up as a Las Vegas showgirl one year. Like I never knew. The one year that I got to wear my own outfit, Bonnie Blackstone made me this mermaid outfit, and I got to wear a mermaid outfit, which was really cool. I wish I still had that outfit.
Of all the things you
but I don't.
saved as well, and it's not. Are you sure it's not in a box somewhere?
I didn't save any of my clothes, and I should have. I wish I would have saved like the Hot Stuff and Hyatt jacket, all my tuxes, anything I wore on TV, or anything that got in trading cards or something. Because the one purple sequin dress that's in the trading cards, and I wore it Capital Combat. I sold that for like $1,200. So I wish I would have kept all that stuff so I could have sold it now.
Did you meet RoboCop?
No, not really.
Not really.
Not really.
You just
not really.
walked past him.
Yeah, I just walked past him.
Was it Peter Weller? Was that actually Peter Weller?
No, it was the other guy. Yeah, it was the other guy that played him. Yeah, it wasn't Peter Weller.
One more quick thing. Did you ever, or did WCW ever have thoughts of having you manage Ric Flair longer term?
No, we did that whole thing, me trying to get to Ric Flair to tell him something, and it never ended in anything. And I never knew what I was supposed to tell him because no one ever told me. But they had me chasing him in the limo and chasing him around and coming on the Flair for the gold and doing all that stuff, and it made no sense.
Is it one of those things where they had
made no sense to me, and I had no idea what was going on,
Now, the 1-900 hotline, which I'm very pleased to talk about, because I know loads of people ask you this, but let's
a superstar.
Yeah, let's dive into it a bit, because it's funny.
1-900-909-9900.
How much was it for the first minute? Oh, there you go.
99 cents a minute.
Quite a few people wrote in with this. Bit player says, "Did you get money from the 1-900 hotline?"
Well, the first year I made nothing on it, and I made the company. They made like $1 million on it. And the company got with Western Interactive, they had like a 40-60 split with them, and they made like $500,000 on it. And then the next year I got like $33,000, which I was supposed to get about $90,000, but I only got $33,000 for it. And then the last year I got nothing for it because Bischoff screwed me over.
Eric's name will come up a couple of times, I'm sure, in the next couple of questions.
You know what? The only reason why I'm alive today is because he's older than me, and I know he's going to die before me, and I'm going to piss on his grave.
Is he your Vince Russo to Jim Cornette?
Yeah. I think he's the lowest piece of shit on earth. Excuse my language.
No, it's fine. We will talk about Eric in a second.
Okay.
To start off with, I'm sure we've got some younger wrestling fans watching this, so who may genuinely not know what the 1-900 line was all about. So,
right.
So tell us. So I rang up. What happens?
The champion had a line, like Sting had a night. They would change it around and everything. And Jim had Saturday. I had Sunday. I would just make up, my stuff was gossipy stuff. I would make up stories like, oh my gosh, Brian Pillman was hurt and he had different girls come in and bringing him lunch and different ones come and bringing him dinner. And then one found out and the girl that was bringing lunch stayed too long and met the girl bringing him dinner and they got into a cat fight in the front yard. I'd make up stories like that, or I was, I'd talk about my life. Oh, I was driving on my Harley down, Hollywood Boulevard and I saw Cher in a car. I just talk about stuff like that, about my life and crazy stuff, makeup stuff and everything. And it was the highest rated one they had. Nobody ever beat my numbers on the hotline.
Did a story that you made up end up in the Observer at any point?
No.
Did anyone? I mean, because some of the fans obviously would have taken it seriously because they were ringing up and stuff. But
yeah,
did everyone in the inside basically know it was a?
Yeah, they knew it was just goofy stuff. Yeah, they knew it was goofy stuff. Except Steiner when he got mad about the Bruce Cruise one. When I said about which married wrestler's taking his girlfriend or wife on the Bruce Cruise, call me and I'll tell you all the dirt. And his wife was pregnant at the time, and I guess she got mad at him, and It is what it is.
Did you go on the Bruce Cruise?
I didn't go on the Bruce Cruise. I was never. They never let me do anything.
So you didn't even get a free trip for you.
I didn't even get a free trip out of the deal. Yeah.
Were you?
I did do the Jericho cruise this past cruise. It was awesome. It was awesome. Except I went to Cozumel and I had a slushy drink and got a parasite.
That's going to put a crimp in your day.
That was not fun.
Yeah.
That was not fun.
How long did it take for you to recover from that?
I'm still recovering.
What, from
the
beginning of the year?
Mm-hmm.
Man. Right,
it's been like 3 months. It's been like 3 months and I'm still having problems.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
get better soon, I hope. I mean,
I hope so. I hope so. I'm getting better now. I'm not wearing diapers anymore, thank God.
With the excuse me, I am going to go, but instead of the parasite,
Okay.
we'll go on to the 1-900 again. But were you on the ground floor as far as the development of the 1-900 number?
No. They just came to me and told me, okay, you're doing the 900 line on Sunday and you can plug it, on the Sunday main event and go with it. Do with it what you want. One time they told me, stop talking about what you're doing. Da, 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 da. I'm like, well, what, don't tell me what to do. My numbers are the best. Yeah, that was at the end though. That was at the end when Bischoff had taken over and was being mean to me.
How long did it take for you to develop your patter as far as knowing what fans would actually call up and pay?
Well,
to listen
I
to?
used to check my ratings every week because you could check how many minutes you had. So I knew how much I drew and how many minutes I did. So I would know who to talk about and who not to talk about by the ratings. So I would check my ratings.
So who are the people want to hear about?
Oh, they want to hear about Sting mostly, and Sting was the most favorite, like gossiped one about. But mainly, it was more my life that I talked about. What I was doing and where I was going and what I was doing.
Before you get in the 1-900 number, who were the original people who were making this thing happen?
Oh, I know it was Jim Ross was one of them. I think Tony Schiavone had a night. I'm not sure who else was on it. I think I was on it from the beginning. But to be honest with you, I think I was on it from the beginning.
So, is the big one that's going to go into, I'm sure you know what it's going to come to. Suave Star has written in and said, why does Bischoff hate Myssy and refuse to talk about her?
He doesn't, on his podcast, he says nasty things about me every week.
He actually, he brought you up in February, I believe. I listened to the video about that whole situation. It was only a condensed version of stuff. But, okay, I'll re-ask it then. When did you and Eric get sideways with each other, and what was it over?
Well, Eric, when he came to WCW, he was an announcer. They had him on the C show, on the Canadian show with me because he sucked as an announcer. He was so horrible. And he was all worried about his job, if he was going to get a contract and this, that, and the other. One year I even bought him a tie for Christmas because I bought all the announcers' ties for Christmas. And then he was trying to sell this kids team challenge game that he had made up and made a little diorama and all this other stuff. So he came to LA and wanted to try to take it around and sell it. I let him stay at my house, drive my 63 Corvette to his meetings, and stay at my house in LA, stay in my room, my extra bedroom with the guy I was dating. And anyway, he ends up getting friends with the guy that I was dating, thinking that guy could help him get in Hollywood or whatever. And when me and that guy broke up, Bischoff started fucking with me left and right. I came in with short hair. You need to go back and get extensions. You can't have short hair. And I'm like, there's nothing in my contract that says that I can't have color hair or do my hair different, because I was always changing my hair because that was the only thing that I had control over in my life. He just did so many mean, evil things to me. Bischoff did, because I had broken up with that guy. And he was friends with him. And that's one of the reasons why I got fired, because he says it was because of Sherry Martel that I was upset Sherry Martel was coming in. He doesn't realize that me and Sherry were good friends. I knew she was coming in before he told me she was coming in. I was excited and asked Bischoff if I could go down to the power plant and learn how to work a little bit so I could work a program with her. And he was like, no. And then he would tell, when I was with the Nasty Boys, he told the director not to put the camera on me. Don't put the camera on her and stuff. And then when the picture of my boob came out after the Clash of the Champions of the pay-per-view, that I had to jump on Sting's back and my boob had popped out, and they took a picture of it, and it was hanging up in the photo studio at CNN Center. And I saw it when we went up there to take promo pictures, and I ripped it off the wall and crumpled it up and threw it away, but I ended up taking it out of the garbage thinking I might need this. So I went to Eric and I said, I want an apology and I want all these copies, because it was a color copy, and he didn't do anything about it. So not Jim Hurd, but one of the suits above him asked me how did the Clash go. And I told him about the picture. And then I told him about how at it was I used my smartness, but I know about the business, and told him what I thought they should have done instead of what they did. And Eric said I went over his head, and so he fired me. And the thing was, is they called me. I didn't call them. And they asked me, so how did the clash go? And I go, well, to be honest with you, at the end, the match was at the pay-per-view. The clash was always setting up for the pay-per-view. And it was the Nasty Boys versus Mankind and somebody else. I forget who it was.
Max Payne.
And yeah, Max Payne. And it was falls count anywhere in the building and no time limit. Well, they wrestled them at the clash, and at the time limit, right there at the 20 minutes or whatever, they went 1, 2, 3, and then, but the bell had already rang at 2. So it showed them, but the camera angle, they didn't get that on the camera angle. They just got them getting up and getting the belt. So the people at home didn't really know what was going on. And on the replay, because I got kissed by both of them, I run the ring. And so, they both kiss me and I'm screaming. On the replay, instead of showing them getting beat 1, 2, 3, they showed me getting kissed again. And I said, that doesn't sell tickets. Kissing the blonde girl doesn't sell tickets, but showing them that they beat them in a time limit match and the next match is no time limit, that sells tickets. That's what I said. That's what got me fired.
So the original report was, and I know you've already, what you said is completely contradicts this, so I'll say the original report. So it goes, so this goes into the sexual harassment lawsuit that we'll bring up in a minute. The original report was that you had been let go for going over Eric Bischoff's head to Bob Dew regarding contract negotiations, and that you resigned before you could either re-sign or decline to re-sign. So was there any contract issues with...
No, they told me my contract was being renewed, and then I got fired.
Right.
And it was all because Jason Hervey wanted to come around and snoop around wrestling and be around up Jason. He wanted to be up Jason Hervey's ass. And Jason was upset that I broke up with him because Jason was a liar and a cheater and went on a boat with Byron and with girls and didn't tell me about it. I had to hear about it from Byron's girlfriend. And once you break trust in a relationship, I'm just the type of person, once you break trust in my relationship, it's over with for me. I can't be with you.
Yeah.
If you lie, over something stupid like that, if nothing was nefarious, then you should have told me. By not telling me, I think nefarious things happen.
Yeah.
So
does it sort of like help Eric's argument that you didn't want to be in the same company as Sherry or something, and then she replaced you?
I don't know.
I mean,
what's so funny is that me and Sherry were really good friends, and that's what's so funny. And I wanted to work a program with her. I was so excited hearing that she was coming there because I asked to work a program with Fifi. Flair's maid.
Yeah.
And I was told no. I would come up with ideas all the time and would get shot down all the time. Ideas for me to do something.
I'll bring this up a little later, but there's a photo of you with about 6 of the ECW women in 1996.
Yeah.
As well. So, I mean, it seems
that's
like...
when we were doing the calendar.
Yeah.
We made a calendar that never got
Shane Douglas
produced.
wasn't in blue trunks in that one, was he?
No. It was all the ECW girls.
And I'll bring that up because it's like, well, you obviously didn't have a problem being in a company with so many women there.
No, I love girls, And then I had Vixens, which I had a lot of girls in Vixens.
Of course.
So
the sexual harassment lawsuit happens, but in a video that you posted on your YouTube channel not too long ago, you say that it was less about sexual harassment and only partially about that, but also it was more about equal pay and equal rights for the women. So expound upon that, if you would, please.
Well, I was the lowest paid person there. Teddy Long was making $150,000 a year more than me, and he was an announcer. And he was a shitty announcer. He didn't have the hotline. His calendar didn't sell 64,000 copies. They never paid me my percentage that I was supposed to get. And after I got fired, I never got any of the money for the hotline, anything for my calendar, nothing like that. I was more standing up for myself to get the money that they owed me. I mean, yes, Yes, Ole Anderson called me one time, and when I was at my apartment, me and Eddie had split up, and I was living on my own. And he called me up, and he said, "Come down to the office and give me a blowjob." And I just went, "Ah, ha, ha," and hung up. I had to deal with a lot of stuff, like not having a dressing room, dressing in a in the janitor's closet. To I was never treated as an equal. Women still aren't treated as equals in wrestling, and it's a shame because women can draw too. Women draw just as much as the men draw.
It's getting closer.
Nowadays, even more. And hearing that Charlotte Flair got $1 million a year contract is bullcrap. She should get more than that. She deserves more than that. And that company can pay her more than that. When there's a guy making $10 million a year, and she's only making $1 million, there's such a discrepancy in the way women are paid against the men.
I believe Becky Lynch is in the millions now. Mercedes Moné went to
Thank
AEW
God.
and she's making, I think, millions a year now, although that's not been released.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome to hear.
Yeah. I think Ronda Rousey, when she came in, as much as people don't like Ronda Rousey in wrestling, but when she came in, she demanded big money. I've heard at one point she was making only less than Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, which means she would have been making over $4 million a year.
That's great. I love it. I love that that women can now stand up and demand money. I couldn't. I was told that I ought to be happy that I have a job and I don't have a wife and kids to feed. I was told that one time by, I think...
by Bill Watts?
Yeah, by Bill Watts told me that.
Just the way you said it, I went, it was Bill Watts, wasn't it?
You knew exactly who it was. Exactly.
Do you know how long after you brought the lawsuit forth did WCW settle?
2 years.
Worth your time? I won't ask.
Yeah, it was worth my time.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was worth my time. It wasn't a lot. It was what they owed me, basically. Probably less than what they owed me, but
a calculation of percentage you felt for the calendar and the 1-900 number.
No, I didn't get paid for that.
No,
it was more calculation on what the back paid, what I should have been paid.
Right.
And then my lawyers got 60% of it or whatever. So
but still,
they were happy.
Yeah.
They were happy. I was happy. I was happy.
Paul Heyman, I believe, advised you in the lawsuit.
A little bit. Yeah.
A little bit.
Sure did.
So was he the one who advised you to start making audio recordings? Or am I going crazy there?
Yeah. And I started writing stuff down. After WCW, I started making a journal and stuff of how I felt and remembering things and stuff like that. So I kept all that.
What happened with Paul Heyman's lawsuit against WCW?
Oh, he got big money.
Oh, did he?
Got big money. Yeah. Yeah, because Bill Watts is an anti-Semite and made a remark about him being Jewish.
Is that how he funded ECW?
Maybe. I don't know. That's a good question. Because
I think his dad was pretty well off, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. He comes from Scarsdale, New York. Big, beautiful house. His dad's an attorney. Comes from a very nice family.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out where Paul Heyman gets the money from. I don't know if it's family money. I don't know if it's from the lawsuit. I mean, did he fund...
And he saved all his money, too. He saved his money.
Oh, yeah. Did he fund World Wrestling Network as well through that?
I don't know. I think it was Crockett did. And I was supposed to be Shane, and I came out as Shane's head cheerleader, and I was supposed to be Shane's cheerleader in ECW. And on the way to the building, I find out I'm going to do a thing with Stevie Richards and then manage the Sandman. I didn't know who the Sandman was, and I was so disappointed because I wanted to work with Shane so bad. And I'm still to this day still pissed off about it. And I just talked to Paul Lee about it the other day. Well, couple months ago at WrestleCon that weekend, because I said, you're in the Hall of Fame because of me. Because Eddie didn't like Paul. Eddie didn't want to hire him. And Paul had been thrown out of the AWA, thrown out of Memphis. Nobody would hire Paul. And me and Paul would be on the phone at night talking, gossiping, having $500 and $600 a month phone bills because me and Paul would be on the phone talking and gossiping. And I made Eddie hire him. And Paul even said, I know that you have vaginal voodoo. is what he called it. And he goes, and I know, that you made Eddie hire me. But then they ended up becoming really good friends and he became his assistant booker and stuff like that. But I knew Paul was talented. I saw the talent, just like I saw the talent in Buff Bagwell. And I saw the talent in Shane Douglas and Mick Foley. Like, I can see money when it comes.
You gave Shane his name, didn't you? Or partially?
Well, his last name. Yeah, his last name. Yeah.
Did you just think that off the top of your head, or?
Well, yeah, I just seen the movie Wall Street, and they were trying to come up with the name Shane, and I came out with Lemonade, and I was like, Shane Douglas.
We're gonna get to our probably only get to one. I hate that we always only get to one because I write too many questions. But very briefly on the lawsuit, was it only Mick Foley and Max Payne who actually came out publicly and supported you? Yeah,
they were the only ones.
No one else who privately was hoping you'd win?
No. I had a girl that worked in the office that later on, not just recently in the last couple of years, sent me a PM on Facebook and said how she apologized that I was right and she should have been on my side.
Is it something to do with the times? Because I think if you did that same
lawsuit, if I would have done it nowadays, oh my God, with the Me Too movement, I'd be a millionaire. I would be a millionaire. The way they treated me and the way I was treated, just by the agents and how Bill Watts treated me, how Ole treated me, how everybody treated me, the pay that I was paid. I mean, oh my God, I would be a millionaire.
Recently as well, and I'll get off this subject after this last question, you said you were thinking of suing Eric Bischoff again for statements he made in Controversy Creates Cash.
Oh, I don't care. He has no money anyway. He filed bankruptcy. He has no money. He works indie shows trying to hawk his book. I'm going to see him in St. Augustine in a couple weeks. He's going to be at an autograph signing that I'm at. So as long as he doesn't come up to me, I'm fine. He comes up to me, I'm going to punch him in the face. But that's another story.
Oh, that'll be fun just to watch.
Well, as long as he doesn't come up to me. I mean, I've been at autograph signings that he's been at, and I just stand there and smile and do my thing. And as long as he doesn't say anything to me, keep your distance from me, social distancing, I'm fine.
Let's get on to a game then, something more cheery after the lawsuit chit-chat. Okay, yes. I'm going to give you a sentence, a description, name, association. You just tell me the first name that comes to your head, and I might ask you to expand on it slightly as well. But the first one is funniest person in the locker room, and it can be any locker room.
Oh, my gosh. Probably... His dad was a wrestler.
If you're going to say Brad Armstrong.
Yes, Brad Armstrong.
Oh God, just everyone says Brad Armstrong.
Everyone says because Brad was so his personality, and it's a shame that personality didn't come out in his wrestling. Yeah. Because he was just so spot on.
Last man or woman standing at the bar, drinking wise.
Sandman.
That should basically be the Sandman memorial question. Yeah. The most handsome wrestler in real life.
Let's see. Kerry Von Erich. He was a god.
Biggest bully.
Ooh. I heard it was JBL. But he's always been nice to me, and I love JBL. I did his podcast, and I have so much respect for him. Yeah. But I heard he's a bully. I just heard that.
Cool as anything when I've spoken to him.
And I think one of the Steiners I heard is a bully.
Most bullied.
Most bullied?
Yeah.
Me.
You can, yeah. That's fine. Smelliest wrestler. Don't say yourself.
Oh my gosh, the missing link. He had the worst body odor, and he was a nudist. They lived at a nudist colony, and Johnny would get so upset because he'd get that green stuff on his tights. His makeup on his tights, and we could never get it out. We tried everything. This is before OxyClean came out.
The nicest person in wrestling.
Mick Foley.
Why? Just general demeanor or generous or?
General, he is such a nice, cool guy. and he's so nice, and the stardom hadn't hit his head. He's still so cool and still so nice.
Most high strung.
Ooh, most high strung. Oh, has to be Chris Adams.
Did you see the dark side of the ring on Chris Adams?
Yeah, yeah. It was sad, very sad. He dumped in Israel. We had Rice Krispies. Thank God they didn't have any milk in them, and he dumped them on my head. Yeah, he was when he drank. He was just all over the place. He kicked the. Back then, you had phones. You had phones in the wall. Like nobody remembers this, and you had to call the front desk to get them to call America. And he didn't put the phone number through to his wife fast enough, and he went down and super kicked the guy in the eye.
What?
And the eyeball fell out. Yeah. And so the day off, the only one day that we had off, we had to stay away from the windows and stay in the hotel because he was Arab and he went to the village in Haifa or whatever, and they were going to bomb our hotel room or bomb our hotel. And then the police were after him and they smuggled him out of Israel.
Gee.
And he wasn't there the last night.
Man.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I've heard that a few times to go back to Shane, said just one day he was just needling Ron Simmons. It's like, why Ron Simmons of all people?
Right, yeah. I wouldn't needle Ron Simmons.
Yeah. What's up with Chris? Was it just merely a drinking problem, or was it just?
I think it was drinking. Maybe he was just. Maybe he had problems. Maybe he was ADHD or something, unmedicated and drank. I don't know, but he was high strung.
Yeah, good. Everything performer-wise I've heard from him, amazing. Like, people really rank him high.
Oh, my God. He's so amazing.
Yeah. What got him over was just the accent, like mine, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, girls think that's sexy.
It's funny. Well, yeah, people think I'm intelligent. They couldn't be further from the truth.
I'm sure you are. You knew when Henry VII took over.
Oh, God, I hope it did. I hope it was 85.
Yeah, you should know. Yeah.
Next one, the most chill wrestler in the locker room.
Most chill.
Yeah.
Trying to think. I'm going back and thinking. Lynn Denton.
That's the second time I've heard his name in like
really?
a week. Yeah, Lynn Denton seems to be coming up quite a lot. Why Lynn?
Yeah, he was just chill because he's just a cool guy. He's chill. He's chill.
The most miserable wrestler to be around.
Oh my God, Ole Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's the number one.
I can imagine so, yeah. Did you say you went to the power plant at one point, or did they not let you?
No, they wouldn't let me. I wanted to go there and learn how to do a couple moves.
Best jobber. Or enhancement talent, however you want to.
Best enhancement talent. Yes. Oh my gosh. George South.
You'd be surprised how that name comes up quite a lot as well, quite frankly. Okay, this is a newer one. Worst abuser of spray tan or baby oil.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. That would have to be either Lex or Sting. Yeah, either one. They're up there.
Heaviest smoker, just regular cigarettes.
Oh, smoke cigarettes. Who used to smoke? Sandman smoked a lot. And then who else smoked? Oh my gosh, Tommy Gilbert. He'd go out there and do an hour match as a referee and come back and light up and not even be winded. Not even be winded. I don't know how he did it.
See, this one, some people have got an answer for, some people don't. Loudest spot caller. So if you're out managing.
Oh, right. Oh my gosh, who would that? I have no idea. That's something I don't know.
That's fine then.
I have no idea.
Worst injury you saw live?
Eddie juicing.
What's so bad? Just
because he ended up getting staph infection. We were on an airplane and the guy got on that was a doctor and he's like, you need to get to the hospital. You have staph. You're going to die. He told him that. And we went to and they had to do IV antibiotics and everything like that because he gigged his head so much.
Jeez. Did it just swell up massively with
Yeah,
the
it was just yellow, and his eyes were red and yellow. Yeah, he had bad staph.
Worst driver?
Me. I hate driving. I wasn't made to drive. I was made to either take Ubers or buses or subways, but I was not made to drive. I hate driving.
Biggest ribber?
Pillman was a ribber. Who else was it? I heard was it Davy Boy or which one of those that were the ribbers that I heard in WWE? Owen. Yeah, Owen Hart. Yeah, Owen was a ribber. I only met Owen a couple of times when he was in WCW as the Blue Blazer, but he never pulled a rib on me. Thank God.
He was actually, I think he was just Owen I've written a book about him.
Was he Owen or was he Blue Blazer? What was he?
No, he was Blazer in WWF. He was just
what was he? Was he just Owen in WCW? Okay.
Yeah, but he wore like single color neon spandex, so it's like all yellow or all green. It was like the least flattering outfit you could possibly get.
Yeah. What a great worker he was.
Oh, amazing. Do you know, he's someone that I never appreciated until many years after. Because I just hated him as a kid, I guess.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I've only got a few more of these, and then we'll get on to some regular stuff, and then we'll close down the show. Worst storyline ever?
Oh my God!
As some with a booking mind as well. I mean, there's got to be some stinkers out there.
Worst storyline ever. Dusty Rhodes being with the polka dots with Mabel or whoever she was with. What was
she called?
I forget. Mabel. Not Mabel. What was her name?
Sapphire.
That's it.
Got it.
That was the worst gimmick. That was the worst thing ever.
That was horrendous. Best buildings to work?
Best building to work. Omni in Atlanta and anything in St. Louis, because St. Louis is a great crowd. And Houston.
Now, you don't have to give me the number, but best single payoff for an event?
Texas Stadium Mud Pit match.
Against
Sunshine. I got $2,500.
That's not bad. You were in the opening match there.
In 1980, no, I was the main event. Nobody wanted to wrestle in the ring after we had mud. So I have the program, and it's a pristine program, hasn't been folded or anything, but I lost it. And it had me and Sunshine as the main event, and then Bruiser Brody was underneath us. But we were the main event in Texas Stadium for a big show. I did that first before WWE did it for a big show, and we were main event. And I got like $2,500, and that was 1986. $2,500. So how much is that in today's worth?
Oh, you're gonna make me look it up
like
now.
Like $5,000.
No, triple it. I think 7.5.
Think so?
I think so.
Wow. Okay.
Are you gonna make? Do you want me to look it up?
Yeah, look it up. I'm curious.
I'm gonna pause 1 sec. I found it out, and it's 7,152.
You were close.
Hey,
you were so close. I said 5 and you said 75. So
do you know what it is? Is that this?
That's a pretty good payoff.
This question comes up quite a lot, so I've got an idea in my head of how much to times it by now.
Right.
Do you know what? I was looking at at all of the Texas Stadium shows. I mean, they start from the 60s and they're quite sporadic. They're not every year. And then after David passed away in 84, it was 4 or 5 years in a row, I think. You were on the third one in 86.
Yeah, I was on the third one.
And that was the last one where it actually brought a big crowd in.
Yeah.
What happened between 86 and 87?
Everybody left. Everybody left. And went to UWF.
Why?
Promise of money. Promise of more money. Become a bigger star.
Was it booking stuff as well? Because, I mean,
Well, we went with Ken Mantell. Ken Mantell started me, so I'd go wherever Ken would go.
Right.
If Ken would take me, I would go. Ken Mantell was great mind. He doesn't get the kudos for what he did in the wrestling business.
When did Fritz do the fake heart attack? In fact, actually, it's going to be a question for later, but Lance Von Erich was there at the time, was he not?
Lance,
So then Gino, I know, had passed, and then Lance Von Erich, and then Fritz and the heart attack. And
yeah, I wasn't there when Fritz did the heart attack. That was after I left.
A couple more of these. The most legit tough badass.
Most legit badass. Has to be Haku.
Everyone says Haku. Have you seen him in action?
Yeah.
Have you seen him personally in action?
Or One Man Gang.
One Man Gang's not a name we get very often, actually. Have you seen either of them in action?
No, just heard. But One Man Gang, man, he's a tough man. I'm going to be in Baton Rouge next weekend, and we're having dinner. Me and my boyfriend and him and his wife were going out to dinner on Saturday night, so I can't wait to see him because I just saw him at a world-class reunion. So
I've never interviewed him, and I'd love to.
Oh my God, you should.
I don't know how to get hold of him. I'll find out.
Okay, I'll make sure you get a hold of him.
Yeah, make sure I get a hold of him. I've got two more here. Most memorable backstage fight, if you saw one.
I never saw one.
Okay, we'll
that
move
I can remember. Yeah.
The last one is the strangest sight you witnessed at the Philly Travelodge.
Seeing a naked girl in the elevator.
Mm-hmm. What happened?
Nothing. I just was getting on the elevator and there was a naked girl in the elevator.
Did you ever find out why? Or
no, she had a bucket of ice. I didn't ask questions. I didn't want to know.
No, I think you're right there. Innocence, keep on the innocence. I've got a couple of ECW, couple of random ones. We'll do the end game, and then I will thank you for your time.
Okay.
So you get into ECW. I'm presuming Paul Heyman's the one who brings you over. How did you get over there?
He just called me and he's like, "You want to come work in ECW?" And I was like, "Sure." And he goes, "I want you to be Shane's head cheerleader, be his manager." I'm like, "Oh, I would love to. That would make my dream come true." And then the next thing I know, we're on the way to the place in Brooklyn or Queens or wherever it was at, the VFW hall. And I get the phone call, my flip phone, and it's Paul saying, "We're going to have you sit at ringside and Stevie Richards is going to come down. I want you to kiss him and da-da-da-da-da-da. And then we're going to do an angle and Sandman's going to come out and save you and this, that, and the other. And then you're going to work with Sandman." I'm like, "Who the hell is Sandman?" "Oh, you'll meet him when you get here. You'll see Stevie. He's the one that's going to come out and call you out and everything." And I didn't know who, because I didn't watch the show. And because I worked at night, I was bartending at the time. Or go-go dancing. I don't remember. It was either go-go dancing or bartending. I can't remember. Anyway, so so that's how that happened. And I was really bummed that I wasn't Shane's manager. Still to this day, I'm bummed. But Paul said it's a long story, and one day we're going to sit down and he's going to tell me about it. But that's just him blowing smoke in my butt. I know.
Do you still curse Francine for getting that role?
Yes. Bitch. No, I'm just kidding. I like her.
She's lovely. She's absolutely lovely, Franny. Well, that's the thing. I've got a total blind spot when it comes to ECW around 96. I watch like stuff earlier and later, but 96 is a total blind spot for me. So,
oh no.
How long did it take you to realize that the Stevie Richards thing was a giant in-joke on your lawsuit with...
Oh, I knew it was from the beginning. Having suing me for sexual harassment. It was a joke to WCW is what it was.
Was it over the heads of even the ECW fans at the time?
No, I think they got it.
How come that didn't last longer then? Because you're sort of just straight in with Sandman and then the next thing happens. And
and then they brought in his son and they did the thing with Raven, and Raven never had anything for us girls to do. And I started getting frustrated. And then I just left, and AWF had called me because they were starting a wrestling company and they wanted me to be an announcer, and I wanted to be an announcer. I didn't like doing that. And I didn't like the whole ECW thing at the time. I loved Paul, but I just didn't like the direction going with using Sandman's kid and the stuff with and then I remember saying in front of Scotty, I call him Scotty the Body. He's not Raven to me because I met him as Scotty the Body. But he goes, "Okay, we're going to get in the ring and Kimona and Myssy are going to get into a fight and then they're going to be called to the back and then we're going to have the match and do this. I'm like, "Oh, you're such a great finish man." So you can't come up with something for us girls to do during the match. It makes no sense for us to get into a fight at the beginning and then get called back. There's no reason why I have heat with her. You know? And Paulie pulls me to the side and goes, you shouldn't have never called Raven out like that in front of everybody. If you have a problem with him, take him to the side and say, you're a veteran in the locker room. You should know better. And I remember, this is crap. And then they called me, I forget who called me from the AWF, and they said that they were starting a company. And I remember Paulie calling me because they were doing a big public announcement at somewhere in Times Square about the AWF. And he's like, don't you dare go down there. Don't you dare go down there. And me and Kimona went. I took Kimona and we both went.
Really? Because I was wondering where Kimona had disappeared to.
Kimona went with me. Kimona was sick and tired of all the nonsense.
Nonsense as in just booking stuff?
Of us fighting for no reason.
Right.
It made no sense for us to catfight.
Did you never talk to Paul and say, look, I really want to be an announcer. I'm better looking than Joey Styles.
Yeah. I wanted to be an announcer, and he said no.
I've got one more thing about ECW. You can tell me to pass.
Okay.
But a lot of people asked.
Okay.
So I talked to Perry Saturn. I interviewed him when I was in Philly for WrestleCon.
Uh-huh.
And he made mention of coming at the end of a match between Taz and Paul Varleans and knocking Paul clean out with a dropkick.
Right.
Which leads me to the Paul Varleans story, which Zachary Ainsworth has written and says, tell the Paul Varleans story. We all know it, but it's still
everybody loves it. They want to hear the story again.
Yeah.
I did it on Jericho's podcast, so I'll do it for you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Paul wanted me to get Paul Varleans to do a job for Taz. Paul Varleans was like 6'6" and 300 and something pounds, a big guy. And Taz is like 2 feet tall. And Paul didn't want to do it because Taz is so small. And he goes, and plus I'm a UFC fighter and people are going to think that UFC's fake. And if I do it, it's going to ruin my credibility in UFC, blah, 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 blah. I basically promised him me if he would do it. So he did it, and he does the job, and he comes back into the dressing room. He's like, and he comes to me, he's like, okay, are we going to the hotel now? And I'm like, no, I don't fuck jobbers. He was like, I was like, see ya. Lose my number.
Did you not find the monobrow attractive then?
No.
I know, I don't blame you. So there was a story afterwards that when you said, not really, pal, that he got a bit irate.
I don't know. I don't know. He might have.
Did you just escape and say no chance?
I escaped. I got out. I got out of there. I didn't want to be around.
Did you realize that Perry had knocked him out?
No, I didn't know that. Thanks, Perry.
Yeah, because he's probably half dopey anyway. And,
yeah.
Then he goes to the back. So yeah, apparently, Saturn does a missile drop kick from the top, straight into the back of his head, and he really does just do, instead of just taking a normal fall, he goes and just crumples. So, there you go.
There you go. And Taz never thanked me.
Did Taz even know that you'd offered
Yes,
this?
he knew. Everybody knew.
Where did you make this offer? Was it just you and Paul, or was this in front of the entire locker room?
Paul had told me to do it. So I, when he came to the show and everything, I like sauntered up to, hey, how's it going? You want to meet me in New York? We'll go have dinner. Like we had like dinner and went out and stuff. And Paul was on the phone with me. Have you got him to do it yet? Have you got him to do it yet? No, it takes time. I can't just come out and say, And so I talked him into it,
What was his payoff for that? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea. Probably like $500.
Probably, and a hot dog.
And a handshake.
We'll leave it there. I'm going to give you a couple of random ones, and we'll do the end game.
Okay.
Let me have a look. Adam G. This is a good question. I've never been asked this before. Or hopefully you either. Any stories of Myssy accidentally breaking character because of something unexpected in the ring where she laughed or freaked out in front of everybody?
Exactly. When they threw me in the water trough on live TV. I didn't know that was going to happen. I had no idea. All I know is I was supposed to follow them, false count anywhere in Wichita. And I'm running out there with the microphone going, ah! And then they started wrestling towards me. And they cornered me. And then here comes Abdullah the Butcher, and he picks me up and he goes, "I'm really sorry about this," and throws me in the water trough. Yeah. I got up, I got out, and I laughed. I sent them a bill for my shoes and my outfit too. So I got a new pair of Gucci shoes.
To put in the Gucci purse?
Yeah.
So it was shoes.
That's not what goes in there.
Never mind. I thought I had it there. Just give a bit more context into what happened. So you're not refereeing a match or anything. You're just
I was doing the roving reporter thing because they were Falls Count Anywhere in Wichita. It was Cactus Jack and Van Hammer, I think. And it was Falls Count Anywhere in Wichita. So there was a fair going on. They were originally, Dusty told me, going to throw me, backdrop me into the pin with the bull. But when the people at the fair said, well, the bull might stomp her or horn her to death, they're like, well, I guess we'll do something else. And I remember them putting water in the water trough and cameras and everything. And because they were going to have to fight out there over, the bales of hay and stuff like that. I didn't think that I was going to get thrown into it. And they put somebody's head in the water trough, during the match and stuff. But I didn't think I was going to end up in the water trough. I just laughed about it because I know if I would have bitched about it, moaned about it, they would have done something worse to me the next time.
Do you know whose idea that was ultimately?
Dusty. Dusty did it for Cody because Cody was at home sick and he wanted to make Cody laugh.
Really? That's the reason?
Mm-hmm. That's the reason. I followed Dusty with a camera into the men's bathroom asking him about that a long time ago.
That wasn't for TV, was it? Or was it?
Yeah, it was on TV. It was on the Clash of Champions.
Oh, no, you just following a camera.
It was just for my website.
Oh, fair enough then.
Yeah.
So there you go. So Cody got a laugh out of it.
Yeah, Cody got a laugh. Yeah.
There you go.
Now look, Cody's a big star. Remember me, Myssy? Hey.
I made you laugh in the trough.
When you were a kid.
Humongous says, who was the one wrestler you wish you could have managed but didn't?
I wanted to manage the Fantastics and turn them heels. And the Hollywood Blondes.
Any singles? Or did you prefer managing tag teams?
I don't singles or tag teams. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. But singles, I think who I would have liked to have managed. Well, originally I was supposed to manage Randy Savage, and then he got Elizabeth to do it. But
yeah, he did quite well there. Really, he said, "Well, my wife here," and then
because they had called me. I had sent my pictures in, and George Scott called me and asked me about it. Would you manage? He called him Randy Poffo at the time. And I said, yeah, sure. I didn't even know who that was until I said something to Johnny. And then Johnny told Rick Hazard. Rick Hazard told David Manning that WWE called, or WWF called. And so they hired me real quick.
So how come, was it purely Randy just saying, I want my wife on the road? Or
I want my wife. Yeah, if I'm going to have a manager, I'd rather have my wife do it. Now double income. Because he was very good with his money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheap.
He was so tight with his money when he walked, he squeaked.
I always, once again, I don't mean to make this the Dutch Mantell tribute show, but he said, because he wrestled Randy, Lanny, he also said was as cheap as a son of a gun. When you've got a dad who wrestled as the Masked Miser, I mean, I suspect.
Yeah, I guess so.
So how close was it actually for you joining the WWF at that time? Was it like that close? Or?
It was that close.
Wow.
That close. And Lanny talks about it, that I was supposed to be his manager.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
We're going to do... loads of people wrote this in. So very briefly, I've asked Fonzie about it, but Armstrong, how did you and Bill Alphonso end up on... It wasn't Judge Judy, was it?
It's Judge Mathis.
Judge Mathis. This fella's written... so was it work for a free trip and a payday? How did the whole thing come about?
It was a work and it was a free trip and a payday and a handshake and a hot dog. Fonzie wrecked my car. A Porsche, and I told him, you got to give me the $500 for the deductible. And Fonzie didn't have it at the time, so I love Judge Mathis. I watch it every day, and I watch the reruns now because I love it. And I love the Judge shows, and I love Marilyn Million. I want to get on her show so bad. I don't know how to get on it though.
Just have Fonzie borrow your car for a weekend.
I know. I'll let Fonzie borrow my car, and we'll go back on her show. I love her. I don't like Judge Judy too much. She's too mean, but so I told Fonzie, I said, if you go on Judge Mathis with me, they pay the settlement, so you don't have to pay it. So that's what happened. We went on there. We got a free trip. We got per diem, and I got my $500.
Is that all you asked for? Why don't you like jack up the
I should have jacked it up more, but that's all I asked for.
And you and Fonzie never fell out over it?
Oh, never. We were in on it.
How many times? How many times did you say "daddy" on the show?
I know, right?
A crash car, daddy.
Daddy.
Right, we're going to do the last game then that's going to take us out. Firing line, it's just the opposite. I'm going to give you some names of people and you just give me a hell yeah or whatever, or no. Okay. Or if there's a funny little story, you just throw it in there, please, if you would.
Okay.
First name is Lance Storm.
Oh my gosh. I would love for him to train me. If I was 30 years younger, I would want to be trained by Lance Storm. Best trainer in the business.
Last person you managed, is that true?
Yeah. Well, no, the last person I managed was Blake Christian.
Oh.
I was supposed to manage him. I was going to retire. Like everybody else, we say we're going to retire because I live in Tallahassee and it's hard to fly me in and out of Tallahassee. And I was just tired and I wanted to go to school. I went to barber school. I just graduated barber school and I decided to retire and I wasn't going to do any more wrestling at all. And he was my last person that I managed in Texas. And I said, I started in Texas. I want to end in Texas. But of course, people kept calling me to do stuff. And I was like, how can I turn it down? So
you never say never in the wrestling business.
Exactly. I'm never going to retire now.
Next name is Terry Funk.
Oh my God. He's my favorite wrestler of all time.
Why?
I love him. Just because seeing him in the Japanese stuff going through the crowd and just Terry Funk is amazing. He's my favorite wrestler. Him and Dory.
Did you get into the tape trading thing early on?
Yeah.
Who was your? I'm sure there's no names anyone will recognize, but who were your like tape hookups back in the day?
Oh my gosh, Eric Ben, who was my main trader, who I got my stuff from. I still get my stuff from. I've known him since he was 15 years old.
There you go. Shout out for you. What was better, All Japan or New Japan?
New Japan.
Next name is Rick Rude.
Oh my gosh, best body in the world. Loved his body.
Tough dude.
Yeah, tough guy. We started at the same time in world class, same month in September of '85. Next year was my 40th anniversary in wrestling.
Are you doing anything to celebrate?
Yeah, I'm getting 2 action figures.
Oh, really?
Yeah, finally. Matt Cardona's doing one and Steve Kern's doing one.
Steve Kern does them? What company is
Well, I don't know which company it is. It's a company that he got me hooked up with.
Ah, got you. Okay. Yeah. Well, you need to let me know after this. I'll put some links on for the videos.
Okay.
And we'll get those plugged as well. Well, you mentioned him before as a greasy so-and-so, Lex Luger.
Oh, my gosh. He never talked to me in WCW, and now we're really close. Well, not really close, but every time I see him at a show, he's the most gracious, nicest guy in the world. I used to think he was so stuck up because he never would talk to me and never say hello to me. He would stay. Well, I remember one time I was sitting backstage at Center Stage reading a book, and he's standing there doing the rubber things, doing that right in front of me. And it's like right there in front of me. I'm like, I didn't know if I should stuff dollar bills in his tights or what. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he never hardly talked to me. So, and I said something bad about him on a interview one time that wasn't true, and I apologized. I just saw him a couple weekends ago, and I apologized to him. He said, "Honey, we all said a lot of bad things and did a lot of stuff." He goes, "I'm sorry I wasn't nice to you in WCW." We hugged and kissed and made up. So it's all good.
Yeah. So how's he doing physically now? Because I've seen him.
He stood up. He stood up. He was standing. Yeah. I hope he gets better. I mean, I really do.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's
got a good heart. He's got a good heart.
Yeah. What was the deal with him in WCW? Because it's not something I've not heard before. Was it just arrogance? Was it just
arrogance? I mean, God, when you're as gorgeous as that and got that body, you can be arrogant. It's like me when I was younger. I was a handful because I was really a handful. I was obnoxious handful.
Next question is Buddy Landell.
Gucci shoes, baby. Got your Gucci shoes on. Okay, funny story. I'll tell it quick.
No, you don't have to. Don't worry.
Okay, he got a Halliburton bag. Back in the day, Halliburtons were like, you had made it as a wrestler when you had the Halliburton suitcase. And he brought it in, and Bill watched, came back, and he was like, "You guys do shitty kicks." And he takes the suitcase and he kicked it. "No shitty kicks." Then he takes the bag again, takes it, and kicks it again. He goes, "Learn how to kick, you guys. No shitty kicks." He gets it again. He's getting ready to kick it, and Buddy jumps on it and covers it. He says, "No, please, not anymore. I can't take it anymore."
How much did they cost back in the day? They were a pretty penny.
Oh my God, they were like $800. You know,
$800.
Yeah, for a suitcase.
Is that like the wrestlers? Like I've made it starter packs of the Halliburton secondhand Lincoln town car.
Yeah, the town car. Yeah. Now it's Louis Vuitton luggage. I have my makeup box that I paid in 1988 $1,900 for, and it sells for like $5,800 now.
Wow. Well, the same, like a vintage, like the same year, or just the new versions?
No, I mean I think the older ones go for like $2,500 to $3,000. You could buy a used one for about $3,000. I paid $19,000 for mine in like 88 or 89, and I carry it. And it's been 1 million miles on Delta. It's been 800,000 miles on American and countless other airlines. And I use it every day. It has all my makeup, my deodorant, my toothbrush. I mean, I keep everything in my little box. Carry it around everywhere.
And still going strong.
Still going strong. And more. And I get so many compliments on it at the airport.
Next one is Exotic Adrian Street.
Oh my God. I only worked with him one time. And he was smelly too. Him and Linda were smelly. I hate to say that.
No, don't worry about it.
He makes good tights, though. I heard he's fabulous tight maker.
Well, he did. Passed away.
Oh, he did. Yeah. Oh, he passed away. Oh,
yeah, a few months ago.
Sorry.
When did you work with him?
When I was in Alabama. Yeah. I came down to Mobile and worked a show for them in Mobile.
How did it go? In the end,
it was horrible. Me and Linda got into a cat fight, and she didn't know what she was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. It was horrible.
Fair enough then.
Horrible. One of my many quarter of a star matches.
You need to call up Meltzer and say, "Look, you bump it up."
Don't even say anything about it.
Okay, I won't mention it. Sean Waltman.
Oh my gosh, I love him. I remember when I did an autograph signing and he was still a fan, and he was just in wrestling school, and he came to the autograph signing, and I met him there. And I was told he's going to be a big star one day. He was right.
Yeah. Were you looking at him thinking, this skinny kid? But the thing is, he's pretty
skinny little kid.
He's pretty big for these days,
big star. I know. I'm so proud of him. Yeah. I met him as a skinny little kid who slept in his car and would travel 8 hours to go to wrestling school. And John Arezzi said one day he's going to be a big star, and he did.
Next one, sort of related in a sense, because they both broke in roughly the same time, Jerry Lynn.
Jerry Lynn. Oh, one of the nicest people in the whole wide world. I love Jerry.
Next one's the Bushwhackers.
Bushwhackers. They're great guys. They're great guys. But only Luke's alive right now, right?
Yeah.
Is it Luke or Butch? Yeah, Luke is alive. Luke. Yeah. I see him every once in a while. Great. They were great. I remember when I was in WCW, but I wasn't working the show, and me and my family came in Tallahassee and we were sitting front row ringside, and they came up and did their whole thing for my dad and fell on my dad and did all this kind of stuff. My dad was just loving it and eating it up. Yeah, they did that for me.
Next one, Jasmine St. Clair.
Oh, one of my buddies.
Yeah.
One of my buddies. I love her. I'm the undersecretary to the I'm having a brain fart. To MK's the director of sports entertainment or whatever. I'm the undersecretary, and she's not secretary, she's head of the media. She's the media or propaganda, head of propaganda.
Yeah.
So she's in my little faction out in Phoenix.
How were the cat fights with her? Because I believe you wrestled her in 3PW.
I only had one time in 3PW, and I got knocked out completely, and Todd Gordon had to pick me up and carry me back to the ring. Another concussion I had.
So it went well then?
Yeah, it went really well.
Michael Hayes.
Oh, my God. Michael, I love Michael. We used to be in the car, me, him, and Johnny in UWF days, and Michael's so freaking smart about the business. He taught me so much. They taught me Carney. They taught me so much. And I used to sit beside John and Michael be at the back and he'd rub my shoulders and everything. Best massages ever.
Baby doll.
Oh my God. I love her. If it wasn't for Baby Doll, I wouldn't be in wrestling because John was in working Crockett and I was living with John and Charlotte. And she came back with Tully and Johnny said to her, I'm going to get me one of you. And she goes, the next thing I know, 6 months later, he's with Missy out in world class.
So she was like prototype.
Johnny got the idea. Yeah, she was prototype for Missy.
How did Nicola get into the business? Or because
her dad was a promoter of Lubbock in Amarillo. Yeah, her dad was a wrestler, and her mom was a wrestler. Back in the day when women didn't own their own cars, make their own money, and travel, her mom was a worker in the business and was a famous wrestler in the 60s and 70s, 50s and 60s and that era. Yeah.
Thing is with
back in the day.
In the 80s, Baby Doll really stood out because she was the one valet manager who, if she slapped you, damn, it would look like it hurt, and it probably did.
Oh, yeah, it did. Yeah. Oh, it did.
Next one is Sir Oliver Humperdinck.
I never met him.
You never met him?
I don't think I ever met him.
Oh, I'm sorry, then I'll move on. Ted DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase, what a great guy. We in UWF, when we all got our first contracts, Ted DiBiase, myself, and Steve Williams all went and bought 300 ZX twin turbos. So we called it the official UWF car.
Was this all like coordinated or?
Yeah, well, not really coordinated, but one got one, and then we all had to. I'm going to get one too. Not the same color. We all had different colors.
Robert Fuller.
I don't know. I've only heard that he has the biggest penis in the world. I never seen it, but I've just heard it.
There has been mention made of it over the years.
Yes.
Like he could get a top wrist lock on it.
I never heard that. That's a good one.
I'm sure in quite a few interviews, he'd just be like, "God damn, boy, what do you think of this?" And be knocking
exactly. A little arm falls out.
Oh my God! So he didn't treat you to a show then?
No, I never got to see it.
Oh dear. Next one. We've only got a few more left. Terry Taylor.
Terry Taylor, one of the nicest guys in the world. He was the best man. He was Eddie's best man at our wedding.
Was he really?
Yeah. Yeah. It was so funny because he came as a sheik and his wife came as a belly dancer, and he put like the black mustache and beard, with the pencil, and he wiped his face. And so in all the pictures, he's smiling. He's got black all over his face.
Oh, so he looks like he blacked up for the wedding.
Yeah, exactly. Blackface. Oops. Don't get him canceled now.
No, don't get him canceled. I'm going to stick with Terry for a brief second there. When you look at Terry, you see his work and that kind of thing, you think there's someone who's pretty much got it, or maybe not the greatest on interviews, but pretty good. What stopped Terry from jumping to the next level, really, in WWF or WCW?
I think people were jealous of him, because he was so smart. He's so intelligent. He could be a booker. He should be writing somewhere. Isn't he working somewhere now?
Yeah, he's still in WWE, his fifth stint.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, that's amazing, because he's so intelligent. He's so intelligent about the business.
I once did a list of, I never released it, of people who've been fired by WWE most. Marty Jannetty first.
Yes.
I think Terry Taylor was second. It's between,
my God.
It's between Terry Taylor, fired or let go. Terry Taylor, right. Jim Neidhart, and Jim Ross.
Oh, wow. I thought I was the shortest living person there, but Buff Bagwell beat me.
Oh, yes. I think
I had the shortest career there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I had the shortest career.
I'm trying to think how many we've got. 3 only. No, 4. I'm sorry. Bubba Ray Dudley. Okay.
Oh, Bubba Ray Dudley taught my boyfriend, my life partner, how to work at his House of Hardcore. So he's really good.
Is Bubba Ray Dudley as brash in real life as he is in his wrestling personality?
He's a big pussycat.
Is he?
Yeah.
Ric Flair.
Oh my God. I'm just jealous that I haven't been one of his wives.
Yes. He's still at it at 75.
He's still at it, man. He's still going. I love it. I love it. And it's a shame because you know what? That whole pizza cut incident, the pizza restaurant incident, they didn't get the beginning. Like he was trying to use the bathroom and the kid that worked there was in the bathroom on his phone. And he's like, hey, listen, I really got to use the bathroom. I'm old. I really got to use the bathroom. And the kid like shut the door on him and wouldn't let him use the bathroom. And they only had one bathroom. I guess it's okay for men and women to use the same bathroom, whatever. So they didn't get that on camera. They only got his tirade on camera, and they didn't know the reason why he did the tirade.
Yeah. Did you see his last match?
No, I just heard about it. No. I couldn't watch it.
That's fine. 2 more. New Jack.
Some days New Jack liked Myssy, other days New Jack hated Myssy.
Go on, give us a New Jack story, a good New Jack story. Because
no. Well, all I know is I was doing the Terry Funk roast, and I made the remark, you know how you make fun of everybody? You poke fun of everybody on the dais. And I said, because he was on the dais, and I go, let's hear it for New Jack, everybody. Clap for New Jack being here tonight. Yes, he's evaded state, federal warrants, baby mama. Everybody's looking for New Jack except the WWE. And that's all I said. And he went off on me on a 30-minute tirade till finally Cactus Jack, or Mankind, or I like to call him Cactus Jack because that's how I know. But anyway, Mick looked at him and finally said, that's enough. And he looked at me, and Mick goes, no, that's enough. And Kevin Von Erich stood up, and they were like, you've had enough doing on Myssy. And he sat down and shut up. And they took it out of the video. So
who was the roast? Who was the roast?
Terry Funk.
It was Terry Funk.
Terry Funk. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that the one where New Jack just stood up there for ages and just talked about himself?
Yes, talked about
because he did that in 1997 as well for Terry Funk's retirement, and he turned he turned it with a pink Huggy Bear whole sort of threads thing, and he was on something, and I think they had to give him the hook on.
I want to know what he's on.
It seems good. It's the good stuff.
It's got to be something good.
And last one, we'll end on this Sunshine.
Sunshine. If it wasn't for Sunshine, oh my God, Sunshine, thank you very much. I love you. She taught me, and she was so easy to work with, and it was so easy to work with her. She was most wonderful. If it wasn't for Sunshine, she is the first lady of wrestling. Sunshine is, I think.
Where did she disappear?
They call me that. I'll take it. Huh?
Where did she disappear to? Because she seems to just be doused and gone.
And she Tampa, and she works for a bank, and she had a kid, and she wants nothing to do with wrestling.
So I'll never get.
I talked to somebody that knows her. So
who replaced? Was it Precious who replaced Sunshine?
Yes. Yeah.
And I forget
because Jimmy Garvin came up with the idea, and his wife was pregnant at the time. So that's his cousin. Sunshine's his cousin. So he got her, and then they did the cat fight, which was the best gimmick in the whole world. And I remember watching that on TV in Atlanta and telling Jake, "That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to do that." And then Jake had me send pictures in, and David Manning called me and was going to have me come in, but Baby Doll got the job.
What was your favorite moment with Sunshine?
Oh my God, it had to be the mud pit match.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was fun.
On that, we're going to leave it there. If nothing else, I just got a text message from Chris saying, wrap it up. So,
okay.
Before I let you go, Myssy, do you want to hit us with some plugs, some links to follow you, socials?
Sure.
All that kind of thing?
Missy Hyatt at Twitter and the real Missy Hyatt on Instagram.
There you go. Are there any links for the figures coming out soon? Or
no? Well, Matt Cardona is coming out, and then I forget the one about Steve Kern told me. I just signed the contract with him, and I don't remember, so bad. But it's coming out next year.
Well, there you go. We'll look out for those, and I'll try and retroactively put some links and stuff like that so people can find as well. But for now, Myssy, thank you so much for taking so much time with me. Hugely appreciated, and we'll catch you again next time.
Thank you for being such a wonderful host.
Thank you very much.